Welcome to Player Way, your weekly video game podcast covering gaming news, reviews, and more. I'm your host, Johnny Murr here, and welcome back this week. Oh boy, it's quite the interesting conversation. I'm here joined with our co-host, once again, Jordan Prater.
What up, what up? What up, what up?
Yo, 3 weeks in a row. Can you believe that?
Hey, we're here. We're in here.
We are in here. Where can people find you at, Jordan?
So you can find me on twitch.tv/Parader2321 if you want. I don't go live again that much, but there is hopefully some plans in the works for that. But we'll see. I might just stay lazy for a while. But I've got links to all my other socials on there if you care to inquire any further than creation. But yeah.
Sweet. Your camera's out of focus real quick.
Dude, I know it keeps doing that.
Perfect. All right. Anyway, we're here and we're gonna be talking about a bunch of things. We should have an interesting show planned for you today. We don't really have multiple topics. We really just have the topic that everyone's been talking about this week. I will say
Yep.
we might touch on the interesting Sony and whatever the name of this company that they're currently trying to buy or whatnot. Kodawa, is that what that is? Basically they are the parent company of From Software and anime stuff and Kadokawa. But anyway, we might touch on that a little bit, but I don't really plan on talking about that too much. But of course, thank you all so much for tuning in. We appreciate you guys' support each and every single week. If you love gaming, doesn't matter what you love, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, third party, indie, PC, VR, whatever it may be, consider subscribing, sharing with your friends. We appreciate all the support. We cover video games daily on the channel, but also weekly with this podcast. We love sharing the love of video games with all of you. We try to be as controversial free as possible, but that's impossible this week. So I hate to break that to you, but yeah, we're just here to talk about games, Player Way. That's what we're here for. But yeah, man, let's start with what is and will forever will be. I got that off of Kind of Funny. Shout out to Kind of Funny. You guys are awesome. Tradition. Jordan.
Yeah.
What have you been playing?
So, last we spoke, I was pretty heavy into the Zero Dawn remaster. Dude, sorry, my hat. I feel like I had it straight, and then I saw myself live, and then I feel like it hasn't gotten any better.
I feel that
ever since. I don't know which way to go with it. Anyway, but yeah, so I've beaten the Zero Dawn remaster. It took me about 65 in-game hours to beat it.
That's
so that was worth it. I'm trying to get this hat figured out. I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
But I couldn't get enough of it. The game was just so good. Relearning all of the lore and taking it all in and remembering sort of. I feel like I've got a bit of a better understanding of Forbidden West because I more recently played that one. So getting a little bit more context from Zero Dawn, and just sort of relearning it all over again, just how well written that freaking game is. It's just so good. So I just couldn't stop. So I just immediately hopped right into Forbidden West. So I'm about 20 hours into Forbidden West now.
So did you play Frozen Wilds?
Frozen, yes, I did it. So I looked up if there was a better time to do it as far as in-game or in the middle of the game, and it basically just suggested to do it before the end of the game because you get a follower that shows up for you, and that's how to get the best ending of the game is to complete the Frozen Wilds. So I did have to play a good chunk of the game because it wants you to start at around level 40 before you get up there, and even after beating the story part of the Frozen Wilds, there's a level 50 mission at the end of it. So it just so the difficulty just keeps cranking up. So you've got to go a good bit into the game, or just try to hop in a little bit under leveled and challenge yourself, right. I guess. But no, I'm so good. Because I hardly remembered any of Frozen Wilds. That was basically a whole new experience for me this time around, and it looked so good. It looked so beautiful. There is an obvious visual and performance difference in the FPS from Forbidden West to Horizon, I love that I have the glider back now in Forbidden West. That's one of my favorite things. I could just jump off anywhere. And the amount of times I just wanted to like, I'm surprised I never did it in Zero Dawn as often as I get used to it, because that's just how I get around. Like, I hardly ever do anything. I just jump off stuff and keep going. I love the glider. It's one of my favorite additions to that game ever.
So is Zero Dawn remastered 60 frames per second?
I think it's sort of supposed to be, but it doesn't look like it. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's just 30 with like a little bit of overhaul. But I mean, you can definitely tell it's a little smoother. But there's a pretty significant difference once you load into Forbidden West. Forbidden West is just so well done.
So I do plan on playing the remaster because I also love Horizon. Definitely, yeah, I'm not like you level of love it, because you're like their number one fan.
Oh, it's so good, dude.
But I do plan on playing the remastered.
Learn that, Gorilla. Learn that I'm your fan and put me in the third game. I read today, okay, because I looked it up. I read today that you guys are focusing on a multiplayer game right now, and that the third Horizon game possibly is not even in production all that heavy right now. So there's plenty of time for me to get my name out there. If there's any chance ever that between now and the development and pre-release of the third Horizon game that I could be in that game, even if I'm someone with one voice line that gets ripped to shreds by a monster, I will take it. I'm speaking that into the universe right now. I want to be in the third Horizon game. Life goal. There's plenty of time. No development, plenty of time. Figure it out. Get my name out there. Spread the word. Start a petition. GoFundMe with no money on it. Just keep getting signatures. Get Praetor in the third Horizon game.
Hey,
I'll stop ranting now.
But anyway, what I was gonna say, so I've never played the Frozen Wild, even when I just played the original Zero Dawn.
Oh, dude, it's so good.
Is it key to play that? Like, does it help Forbidden West in any way? Like, does it help the overarching story in any way, or is it just like more character development with Aloy?
It's just character development and relationship, and just sort of builds a little bit of lore.
Okay, that's cool though.
Yeah, because it also like adds machines that aren't in the main game too. So there's some of those. You gotta find them.
Austin said Praetor for NPC number 65 with one voice line.
That's fine. That would be fine. It would be 100% fine. It would be okay as long as if I just being attached to the game and in the end credits would just be anything I would need.
You know what?
Anything I would
next
need.
Week's pod. No, I'm gonna be in Florida. We can't do that. The next podcast.
L vacation.
We need to do a ranking of our top 10 maybe franchises.
Top 10 okay, so yeah, games with.
I don't know if I know my top 10 franchises right now.
Yeah, I would have to probably think about it.
I know my number one. Outside of that, I have no
idea. I could probably, man.
Not the tough one.
Okay, see that's interesting because depending on where they line up, because like I would obviously probably put like Final Fantasy there, but like I've only like really played like three or four. Of them.
If you wanted to, you could low-key just put FF7. Because, like, each Final Fantasy could low-key be their own
15.
franchise.
I thoroughly enjoyed 16.
Okay.
I love 15. It's too big. It's a game they could have made smaller or just put more stuff in all the area. It's very set on you, like, sitting and driving a lot. And then, like, taking pictures or, like, getting off and training a bunch. But, like, I don't know. If you're going and playing it, like, later years, like, when you have, like, the armor where, like, you don't take damage or anything and you sort of just level up and like want to play through the game, like if you're just sort of beefing it, like the game's like way too big for how much content there isn't in it. But I thoroughly enjoyed what you do in 15. The photos was really cool. The food part, that was really cool actually. I think more games should do food like Final Fantasy 15 did. I'm just a food nerd though, so like I actually enjoy food in IRL, so it being represented in a cool way in a game is fun for me, and 15 does that awesome. So yeah, so I mean, I would include a couple of them. So like, I think I enjoy 7 and 15 and maybe 16 a little enough to say that it's part of one of my favorite franchises. but does 7 alone, because of how much I love 7, put it
Right.
like top 2, top 3 for me? And I feel like it
Yeah.
would. So that's that could be a fun one. So that's something more to think on though.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that will be a fun idea for a future podcast for sure. Have you played Burning Shores for Forbidden West?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, is that good?
Oh, it's so good.
Okay, because I've been wanting to play it. I've never gotten around to
It's
it,
so
but
good.
like
Highly recommend.
after I play Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster, I might jump back to Forbidden West and do
highly
Shore.
highly recommend, because there's relationship development that's cool. The traversal is really cool because you get a boat. That's really fun.
Interesting.
Yeah, so
Okay. Cool.
highly recommend it. And the story is just really good. You're in Hollywood.
Yeah.
So, you get to see like the Hollywood sign all burned and like that scape, and you get to like be there.
I've just seen like
really
clips
cool.
of fighting the giant like octopus like looking thing. I'm like, that's insane looking.
It's nuts. It's so good. It's so good. I can't wait to get there.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. Anything else you've been playing this week?
That has been it. That's been it. Nothing. Well, I picked up Call of Duty a little bit again. Loaded into a couple of games. I hit a bit of a misfortunate circumstance with my memory, and for some reason I wasn't able to download the Warzone integration because I just don't have enough space on my PC, even though I deleted a whole bunch of stuff.
Dude, Call of Duty's massive. Oh my gosh.
So that's kind of a bummer. I kind of wish I like enjoyed it on PlayStation without playing with back buttons, or else I'd just download Warzone or Call of Duty again on my PlayStation. But like, I don't like playing it on PlayStation, so so that part's kind of a bummer. But I'm enjoying the bits of multiplayer that I am playing. Some of the maps I hate. Some of the maps are really fun. I pop off, but some of them I really don't. I can't stand it. I can't stand a couple of them.
Yeah. Well, cool. All right. So, what games I have been playing? Honestly, not really a whole lot. Been kind of just chilling. I've been waiting for like Soccer 2 for like a while. And because of that, I wasn't really in the mood to play like anything else. I mean, I've been playing Dragon Age. Like, I'm like slowly but surely going through my second playthrough. I'm like doing like an hour at a time type thing. And Planet Coaster 2, I'm playing a little bit. Not really a whole lot. Honestly, I put like 25 hours into Planet Coaster 2 like the week it came out, and I haven't like sunk in too many more hours into it like afterwards. After that
yeah, but you fully intend to.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Like because Planet Coaster 1, right? It's not that like I played it for like 3 months straight, and that's how I ended up with like over like 2,000 hours or something. It's the fact that like that's just the type of game where it's like every couple months I like get the urge to like do it. And so I go back to it, and then I put like 25 hours again, and then I put like 25 hours again, and 25 hours again.
It's like a sports title with me. Every now and then I just have to download a sports game, whether it's a Madden. It's usually a football or baseball. Usually one of those two. I'll just want to pick up for like 10 to 12 hours at a time, and then I'll go right back to whatever I was playing.
Yep, that's how I'm like with Madden and WWE.
I was really tempted to download MLB last night because I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of in the mood to play MLB, but I also kind of really want to play football because the football season's going pretty atrocious for me. So I was like, I kind of want to bring some light to my football season.
Boy.
Both college and pro, dude, it's just been rough for me. So there's part of me that's thought about taking a copy of Madden home from work and playing that for a couple of days just to kind of get the fun football itch out of my brain,
But yeah, so Planet Coaster 2, been playing that a little bit, not very much. And the same thing with Dragon Age. Actually, what I did play more of, I played more of Mario and Luigi Brothership. I put a couple more hours into it.
For you?
Is
that Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Oh.
It is.
The worst. No offense.
If
you like Diet Coke, that's fine.
It's okay.
I'm just not a fan.
I just like soda. I could really care less what soda it is. Like I just like soda.
I'm drinking cherry Coke.
I like cherry Coke too, but again, I just like soda. So
cherry Coke's the only Coke I like. I don't like regular Coke, and I like Diet Coke.
But yeah, anyway. Mario and Luigi Brothership. Last week, like I said, my like early impressions after only playing like not like 3 hours. It was very early. I was like, it's like a 7 out of 10.
Exactly, Austin.
It was, if they can't win IRL,
Sorry.
make them win it mad. Yeah, facts.
Exactly.
That's a fact. But I said it was like a 7 out of 10. It's just a good game. I don't think it's bad anyway. I don't think it's like necessarily great in any way. I just think it's exactly what it is. It's just a Mario RPG.
Sure.
But I would say the more I've played it, I think I've personally enjoyed it less, but I don't think my score goes down at all. Like, I just don't think I'm necessarily
Doesn't keep you wanting to play so much. Really,
yeah, it's just it's just kind of like Austin says, I agree with you on Brothership, John. I'm at a 7 out of 10 with it, currently 15 to 16 hours into it. Yeah, I don't think, again, IGN giving it a 5 is unbelievable. Like, I really don't understand that. But I think it's just, and I'm not trying to discredit, like, the developers for it and everything, because what I will say is the game has a lot of charm. It has a lot of, like, character to it. I love the art style. I love, like, just a lot of the mannerisms that some of the NPCs and characters have. And I like just how creative that they get in some aspects. But I think as, like, an overall game, and when comparing it to, like, other Mario or RPGs and stuff, I just kind of find it unexciting in a way. Like it's just not really exciting. Like, it's fun, but it's not exciting. Like, and it kind of just comes off as sort of generic outside of, like, its visual presence. Like, it really just feels like you're just trying to get to the end of things, to get on to the next thing, to try and beat the game. Like, but I still think I'm at a 7 out of 10 with it. I think it's just good. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. I just think it's a solid game. It's if you're a person who only plays Nintendo, who only looks for, like, Mario games, maybe the RPG specifically, the game is exactly what you want it to be. But if you're, I guess, like, someone like me who's played, like, almost everything this year, it kind of is just, it's fine. Like, yeah, it is what it is.
Sure.
I'll still stand on business that I love the art style. Like, I really do. Like, I wish more Mario games used that art style. Like, I would take a whole 3D Mario game with that art style. I love it. Gosh, Austin just posted a stinking essay.
I see that.
Level design is too basic, needs more stuff to do, a lot of useless long dialogue. Some of the levels range from fun fight boss at the end to a level where you walk around talking to NPCs for clues, and at the end there is no boss battle. Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's just, everything is just very generic, and it's fun, and it's sometimes fun, but it's just not exciting. Like, there's just not a lot of, like, new and unique different takes where you're like, oh, that's so cool. You're just kind of like, oh yeah, I know that from other Mario games. Like, it kind of just, yeah, I think that the way I said it is the best way. It's just not really exciting. It's fun, but it's not exciting.
I got you.
But no. And I 100, the dialogue, oh my god, they're pulling a Pokemon Legends Arceus with this game. There is so much dialogue. Like, genuinely, I was like, can I just play the game? Like, I just want to play the game. Like, I get you're trying to storytell, but the story's not really interesting to begin with, and I just want to play the game because genuinely the combat is fun. Like, I really like the combat. I mean, if one of my favorite games is Super Mario RPG and I say I don't like this game's combat, I'm a fake, because it's literally almost the exact same thing. You know, I like the combat, but
yeah. And plus, it's kind of, well, I'll say, like, it's Nintendo, not to be insulting, but, like, it's Nintendo, so, like, if you're gonna bring dialogue, and a lot of it better be good. It better be really good dialogue that, like, you know, holds you in and, like, keeps you interested, because there's a lot of your clientele that will not sit and read properly any of that stuff. They're just gonna mash right through it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Austin said 35 hours of it is also such a drag. In my personal opinion, combat is for sure the best part. Yeah, combat is for sure the best part. Yeah, I almost don't want to even get farther into the game because I think just going farther into the game, my score for the game is going to go down. Because before I even played the game, I was like watching reviews and like reading reviews and everything. And I've heard the whole final act, which is like the last 10 hours, is literally doing almost the exact same things that you were doing in the first and second act. And I'm like, why? Why are we doing that for 10 more hours?
That is tough.
And so I'm almost like, you know what? I've had fun. I think it's a fine game. I'm moving on type thing because yeah, I don't know. There's just so many other things. As it says, currently taking a break from it to play some other stuff before going back and finishing it. Yeah. But yeah. So that's pretty much all I've been playing except for today. I have finally started playing Stalker.
Yeah.
Took me way too long to start playing it. I don't know if yesterday I would have even been able to play because normally you can do New Zealand time with games.
Yeah.
But Stalker didn't release until 10 a.m. today. So I don't think I wouldn't have been able to. I didn't even try. Okay.
It was
Also said I tried it and
bummer.
it was not. Yeah, but I did play it today. I've played about 2 hours, so I know it's like very little. I ended up taking a big nap. I was gonna stream all day, but I ended up taking a nap. It was a nice nap.
Nice.
But I've played like 2 hours of it.
Coffee sometimes, man.
Yeah, I played 2 hours with it, which I know in complete retrospect is like absolutely nothing, especially for a game of this size, and like the genre. It's like a survival game and everything. So I know that's 2 hours is very little. Reviews have come out for the game. It's really sad to see. I think it's currently at like a 74, which is in the orange, which is never a really good thing.
Tough.
But the thing
is,
when you look at everyone's review in any review, everyone says the exact same thing. It's an amazing game that is completely broken or has an insane amount of bugs. And I'm kind of I don't know. My review is, or my opinion of the game is very interesting because I am not happy to confirm in my 2 hours of playing, the game has a lot of bugs. Game has a lot of bugs. There's a lot of weird visual, just weird technical thing. Like the game is very dark, and in like all the dark spots, the like screen looks fuzzy, like completely. And I don't know why that is. And then moving around and jump. Oh my god, this is the worst. Moving around feels like you're trying to balance yourself on a stinking like teeter tot or something, like, or whatever those what were those things called? Teeter tots? Teeter totter? Like,
yeah.
I try walking straight, he starts going a little bit right. I try going left, he then goes straight, and then I go left and he starts going right. I'm like, what is going on here? Like, walking and aiming is really annoying in my opinion. But like I said, the reviews were all saying the game is amazing, and it's completely broken, and it's really really buggy and really glitchy. Unfortunately, even outside of the bugs and the performance, I'm not really liking it. There really hasn't been anything that I've enjoyed through the game. It's kind of felt, I kind of just wanted to be done with it. Like, I kind of just was like, I don't really want to play this right now because nothing was grabbing me. Nothing was necessarily interesting. The only thing I find interesting in the game right now is its cutscenes and its visuals, which are great. I just don't really like the gameplay right now where I'm at. Now, granted, keep in mind, I'm only 2 hours in, which is absolutely nowhere near enough time to play the game. I I just hang on. Also says, I feel like while yes they could have delayed it again, how much more time did they want to spend fixing it before releasing it? It sucks because it affects its score, which people care way too much about. I'm just taking advice and waiting till some patches. Yeah, I think that's what I'm ultimately gonna do. I'm gonna put at least 5 hours into the game because that's like that's my personal like mentality, like benchmark where like I don't feel fair unless I put at least five hours into something. So I'm gonna do that before I go on vacation. But unfortunately, even without the bugs and glitches, I'm just not really feeling the game right now. I think it's cool. I think there are a lot of great things about it, but I just don't think it's working for me. Which is really sad because, I mean, I've talked about this game for years now, and how excited I am and how much I want this game to succeed. In which case, the game is succeeding. It's gotten already over 100K players on Steam. That's a W. So the game is succeeding. I definitely think review scores were definitely not what a lot of people expected, and I'm definitely not liking it as much as I expected. But that's just my opinion. If we've learned anything this year, ladies and gentlemen, it's that your opinion can be completely different than everyone else's, even if you're the only one in the world who has that opinion. But the important thing is to play it for yourself and figure out for yourself how you feel. That's the only way you're going to understand, is to try it for yourself.
For sure.
But yeah, other than that, that's really all I've been playing.
I've only seen gameplay on it. I can't be a judge of how it feels until I play it. So
yeah,
like I said, parts of it seem like it could be cool, but yeah, it does sort of seem like a game where like the artistic part of it is really what shines versus the part you participate in. So
yeah, I think the way I feel while playing it, it feels like the biggest low budget game. I know that's kind of harsh, but like it does kind of feel like that, especially when enemies start. Whenever you start actually fighting, I think it just feels really derpy and janky and just it feels like a indie shooter. It feels like a all right, hey, I'm just gonna stop because I'm kind of crap. I was gonna say it kind of feels like a Roblox shooter in some way, but like I don't know. I just found it so like it's not
heavy
really
words.
fun. Like I just wasn't having fun.
Sure.
I was like, I was enjoying what I was seeing. I wasn't enjoying what I was doing, I guess is the best way I could say it. But unfortunately, like this medium, video games, that is the most important thing, is gameplay. And so when that's not hitting, it's going to be really hard to enjoy a game. Also, I've heard it's hard though. Apparently NPCs will give you a hard time. Yeah, no, apparently it is a really, really hard game. That's not even my complaint. I haven't died once in my 2 hours. It's just the fact I just don't. I don't know if it's the controls. I don't know if it's just the camera. I really don't know what it is. It's just not clicking with me in any really degree.
Is there a difficulty setting?
Yes, there are 3 difficulties. There's rookie, stalker, which is normal, and then there's like the hard one. I don't know what it's called, but it's like the hardcore. But yeah, I've heard it's like a really hard game. But I haven't died once, but that's also because I'm only 2 hours in, and yeah. Yeah, that's really all I've been playing. That's really all I've been playing. So,
word up.
I do plan on playing more of it just to see, but as of right now, pretty disappointed. But it is what it is. All right, moving on.
Maybe some patches will save it.
Yeah. I'm low key hoping. Honestly, low key. One of my main guy, Jay Wood, who I follow. He's like my favorite content creator, or whatnot. When it comes to gaming, he posted today, and like it's so true. This whole stalker thing feels like Cyberpunk all over again. Like this game
That's
kept on
kind of what I
getting
was thinking of when I said,
delayed.
maybe some patches will save it down the line.
Yeah, delayed. It's a first-person shooter. Everyone's saying it's amazing, but it's completely broken. It's having success number-wise. It's literally the exact same thing going on again. Like it's the exact same situation, which is just really unfortunate. But yeah, it is what it is. Low key, the streets need Indiana Jones, bro. The streets need Indiana Jones right now because I feel like we've low key gone on kind of a really bad stretch here with releases, because I also heard somewhere that Flight Simulator, which I thought was a slam dunk 90 plus, apparently has overwhelmingly negative reviews on Steam because apparently its online is completely broken or something like that. So that's that. Stalker 2 is having a very underwhelming launch to some capacity. Mario and Luigi Brothership did not necessarily live up to what everyone thought it was going to be. Dragon Age, while I love it, was definitely not an overall win, I would say, for gaming, even though I'm going to stand on business till the day I die. But the streets low-key need Indiana Jones, bro. Because that's like the only game I think like can be like maybe a high 80 for the rest of the year. Maybe a high 80 for the rest of the year. Like, we need that game to come out and just be just an absolute blast, because we've kind of gone on a really bad stretch here. And yeah, Xbox has been taking L's recently, which is very unfortunate, because we literally just talked about last week how Xbox is low-key on a roll here.
Yeah, how stuff could be good for them. And
right. And then
couple of rough releases in a row, but hopefully some light in 25. So.
Oh yeah, also Lego Horizons has like a 60 on Metacritic, which that's insanely low. Like, it can't be that bad, bro. Like, what? Like, what's going on?
I'll say my only sort of take on Lego Horizon is they definitely sort of changed the vibe of the personalities. Like Aloy is definitely a completely different Aloy. Like, that's for sure. I haven't taken a lot of it in because I do eventually plan to play it.
Right.
So I try not to take a whole lot of gameplay in, because I don't, if it ends up being at least fun to me, because I mean, there's people that even poop on the original games and I love them. So, maybe this is just people, but again, like I said, a couple of the impressions I've got from it early on, like some of it, the vibe of it sort of changed.
People who poop on Horizon like Golem. I'm sorry.
We're doing this now. Yay. Like, it was,
People who poop on Horizon like Lord of the Ring golems. I'm sorry, I said it. Like, why? Like, Horizon, it may not be like your favorite games, but like, what's wrong with it? Genuinely, like, I don't understand. I don't understand why you poop.
There is a lot of dialogue. There's a lot of talking. If you're not into that, like, I can see that being a little overwhelming, but it's all skippable. Like, every single dialogue option, like, yes, like some of it might have like 4 or 5 different branches, but if you don't want to listen to it, you can just go to the end branch and be done. Yeah. Like, I don't know. If you don't want to take in the lore of conversation, that's fine. That's what kind of one of my favorite parts about it: the storytelling and the dialogue and the way they tell stories and communicate the events whenever you're learning about it. Like, that's one of my favorite things about the Horizon game, is how well that's done. If you're someone that enjoys it, and I do, I enjoy a well-rounded lore with things to read and things to listen to and people to talk about, and 17 different dialogue options from one person that you just randomly saved from a machine and then talked to him for 5 minutes and then you moved on and never talked to him again. That's just cool. Me personally. But that's the only thing I can really see they're getting a lot of hate out, is there just being so much dialogue. Personally, because there is a lot. If I was someone that didn't like it, it's like, okay, there is a lot, but it's good. It's good.
He said they are for sure Concord fans. That's so true.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, Loki.
Oh my gosh.
Loki again. But yeah.
Yeah.
Anywho,
right.
Nanny.
Sorry. I know we literally just did this, but I kind of already. Was Aloy on your top 10 characters list?
Yeah.
Okay.
Number 2.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. How did I already forget?
It's number 2 for me. Yeah.
All right. Well, anyway, let's get talking about, of course, the big topic of the show. The Game Awards
Bam, bam.
2024. The nominees have been revealed for all the categories, including
Everyone.
your 6 game of the games and DLCs of the year. Yeah. Let's talk about it. So we're gonna go through every category here. We're gonna give our opinions, and we're gonna talk about snubs. We're gonna talk about ones that absolutely deserved it, what we think might win, what we think will definitely not win, what we think should win, what shouldn't win. We're gonna talk about all that stuff. But first, I just want to give an overall thoughts. How are we feeling about this year's overall show in terms of awards and nominees? Which, before we even get into it, let me add, the awards are not that deep, people. Okay? Like,
They're really not.
The awards, like, I'll admit, as somebody who is somewhat interested and finds a little bit of enjoyment every year, they're not deep. They're not important. They don't really mean anything in the grand scheme of things. But I will admit, it's kind of interesting, and it's okay to be curious and at least look into things and give your opinions on things. Like, that's what they are here for at the end of the day. If no one cared about them,
welcome to be passionate about it if you do feel like the nominees do deserve it when they get it.
Right. Like,
if you're someone that firmly believe Baldur's Gate 3 deserved Game of the Year last year, that's fine. But it's also okay if you didn't give 2 rats.
Right. Literally.
About it. So
yeah. No, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. So what are your overall thoughts for Game Awards? Real quick, Austin said, I would like to say I have a list of what I think are the biggest snubs. These games did not get one nomination, and from what I've seen are the most talked about on Twitter that people also believe should have gotten at least one nomination. I can post that whenever you care to see it. All right. What do you think, Jordan, overall?
I've got a couple of snubs, I think. And a couple of opinions. Obviously, everybody's sort of on the certain fence about Erdtree, but we can get to that. I don't know. I think when it comes to a lot of it, I'm not as involved in every single branch of the gaming scene that I feel like I can really contribute to a couple of, like, maybe some indie snubs or just some really, awesomely, I don't know, like, things that might have done extremely well online, but only made it to like PC. So because it didn't get any sort of console love like whatsoever, or wasn't a $250 million production, or wasn't anything like that, it just sort of gets left out. I'm ignorant to a lot of that stuff. So I can definitely say that like majority of sort of what I see through the categories seems to be pretty on par. I just think there's a couple of things missing and a couple of things included that are sort of, I don't love it, but I've also been someone who's hated the Grammys for the last like decade. So
Grammys are, oh my god.
So sometimes some people that are there are deserving 100% of what they're getting because of their artwork, and some people are getting it because they sold the most and got the most radio time. Sometimes those same sort of analogies can transition to gaming. Sometimes games are just there because they have to be. And it sort of depends on just how you see it.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone follows me on Twitter, which I know you and Austin do, you kind of already know how I feel. Overall, yeah. I'm pretty like, and I guess let me clarify a little more. I'm just disappointed with the way all these awards even work, because there's just a lot of, regardless of my opinion, whether I think some games deserved it or not, there's just a lot of like whatever you call them, like loopholes. There's a lot of just weird gaps in the system that don't make sense. There's a lot of things that like kind of contradict each other in a way. Yeah. There's a lot of things that just don't make sense, and I think just confuse a lot of people, which in the end, which now in the overall scheme, with this being the biggest event, gaming event of the year, can really leave a bad impression or spread a bad image or spread bad information. Like, part of the reason being just the way they even vote. Like the way these nominees even come to tuition, the way these awards even get rewarded out, like the winners. It's literally they just choose all the biggest outlets in the world, so like IGN, Game Rants, like whatever. You get the picture. PC Gamer, they used to be Game Informer, stuff like that. They just give a little ballot to all these companies, and they literally just tell them to write the 6 games that they think should be nominated on the paper. They're not told to do any kind of analyzation. They're not told to look at any sort of statistics. They're literally just told, what are your favorite 6 games? Like, what are the 6 games that you would not nominate here? And they write them down, and then they tally them all up, and boom, that's what gets nominated. So it's not even like a judging process. It's not a analyzation process. It's literally just hey, let's just combine all these critics' opinions and trying to come up with an average, pretty much. So that right off the bat is a complete joke, because that's not what this should be. This is not a popularity contest. This should be what it is, the Game Awards. Like, you should be awarding quality and development and stuff like that. Yes, for sure. Also says, I personally believe it's for publicity and views now. Also hate that Jeff in the video was like not part of the members board, by the way. He needs to hold some sort of responsibility for the way the event is formatted. Yeah, I'll get into that as well. But also, outside of the voting process, a lot of these awards, like, I was watching a lot of videos and people reacting, and they brought up a really great point. They have completely ruined Best Action, Best RPG, and Best Action Adventure Game category. Because you could low-key put all 15 of those nominees in the same category, and you wouldn't be confused. Because somebody brought up a great point. In Best Action Game, you have Black Myth Wukong, which is basically a Souls game. In Best RPG, you have a Souls game. In Best Action Adventure, you have an RPG, being Star Wars Outlaws. You have Astrobot in Best Action Adventure. You then have, what was it? Freaking Zelda in Action Adventure, Prince of Persia in Action Adventure, and Silent Hill 2 in Action Adventure, which are all completely different genres. I would argue, Silent Hill 2, Astrobot are not action adventure in the slightest. But then you have RPG, which RPG I think is the best one here, because all of these are genuinely RPGs. Elden Ring a little questionable, because Souls games have always kind of been known to be action games, but this Elden Ring more specifically has more RPG aspects than most Souls games. But basically the argument, which I saw a lot of people saying, is what classifies all of these games being what it is? Because when I think about it, Black Myth Wukong, for sure, while I do think it belongs in the action game category, what decides that? Because it has the same aspects as a lot of games that are in RPG and action adventure. And then at the same time, what classifies a game being an action adventure? Because Astrobot's also in Best Family Game. And so what classifies that as Best Action Adventure? And your description for Best Action Adventure Game is not Astrobot. For the Best Action Adventure Game, combining combat and with traversal and puzzle solving. What? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, okay, combat. You get to punch people. All right. Traversal, you jump. And puzzle solving, I don't think there is any. Unless you consider platforming puzzle solving, but sure, we'll go with that.
Yeah.
I think genuinely Prince of Persia and Zelda I think are the two best are the best two action adventures. Like I think those are genuinely action adventures because it combines all three of those things, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. I think those three nail it on the head. I think Star Wars also is, but the problem is that is an RPG. That is an open world RPG. So why is that here and not in our RPG? But I don't know. Everyone kind of just been wondering because at the same time, Zelda games are also RPGs. So I don't know. It's just really confusing. Yeah, I don't know. But that's an issue. And then someone else brought up a great issue. And before I did a little bit of research, I even told you this. I think this is just a really bad job by voting. In best sports game, in best sports and racing games, okay, we have F1 24, EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K25, Top Spin 2K25, and WWE 2K24. Pretty much the same nominees every single year. Maybe swap out Forza if a Forza releases, or yeah, that's really the only thing that like gets in is when like a racing game comes out. In 2024, we have had two new sports games that came back for the first time in over a decade, being college football and Undisputed, both which are big successes, especially college football. That game literally broke sports games records and was received very well.
Maybe not being there, but
yeah, okay, Undisputed, yeah, for sure. But you're telling me the sports game that broke records, that was one of the highest well-received sports games in a long time, did not get into best sports/racing game category?
Yeah, no,
that doesn't make sense. And I did research. I think I figured out why, and this just goes to back the fact that this whole voting process is really stupid. 70% of the outlets that vote aren't American. They have no idea. They don't know because nowhere outside of America knows anything about college football, pretty much. Like like college football is one of the most purest American sports.
It is.
And that's why. Because they don't know. Like, how are you going to ask a Ukrainian outlet to be like, yo, do you think college football should be there? And they'll be like, what the heck is that?
Or just not care, I guess.
Yeah. And so that's a problem. And then, yeah, of course we're going to get to all the snubs. There are some games nominated in categories that, like, don't make sense. And then there are games that are not nominated in the categories that make no sense. The biggest one for me, how the heck does Star Wars Outlaws have 3 nominations?
Yeah.
And then how...
Figure we'd address that.
And then how is Hellblade 2 nominated 4 times, which is fine. I'm fine with that. But it's not nominated in the category that it absolutely should be, being Best Art Direction. The whole selling point of that game is how good its visuals are. And it's not nominated for Best Art Direction. Like, what are we doing here? There's just a lot that just really, like, rubs you the wrong way, that it's like, were they even trying here? Like, what is the point here? And I think overall, the reason I'm so disappointed in all this, right, is because it's not that there's an overwhelmingly bad amount of nominations, like to the point where like that shouldn't be here, that shouldn't be here, that shouldn't be here, like this should be here, this should be here. There's quite a few, but there's not an overwhelming amount where I'm like, yeah, these awards are just complete joke, like the Grammys. Yeah. It's the fact that it just really feels lazy to a certain degree.
You think so?
Yeah, because here's my problem, and I mentioned this in my voting video. It's like for the past 2 years, I've went through and voted for all the games, and when I reached game of the year, I ended up going on like a 10-minute rant, just like pretty much glazing the 6 games nominated for game of the year because that's just like a tradition. I just like giving them their flowers, pretty much in a way. Um, and this year, I didn't feel like doing that because I don't feel well. Number one, the big issue is Elden Ring because I'm not about to give them all their flowers if one of them I just genuinely don't believe should be there. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
but I think it's just the fact that there are so many, not even things that I don't agree with. It's the fact like the whole Hellblade 2 not being in best visuals. Like
That is tough. The game
what?
looks incredible.
Like what? That doesn't make sense. Oh, Destiny 2 Final Shape and Vessel of Hatred both being in best ongoing, and you didn't nominate the game that should be there that's in game of the year. This is the DLC category. And you chose to not nominate that game in this category, but game of the year. What?
It's
Like
tough.
how does that genuinely make sense?
It really doesn't.
I don't get it. Like, and they nominated Phantom Liberty for it last year too, for best ongoing, but they didn't do Shadow of the Erdtree. But it is in game of the year though. I don't get it.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering why it wasn't in ongoing with sort of how long it's still going. The fact that they did a DLC 2 years after release, and it was I mean almost met with the same reception that the original game was because of how the hype was for it, and you know, but then again, then do you just look at it and then face facts that okay, well, because of what I just said, does it deserve to be in the game of the year because of how it was met? And I've got my say on it. I don't know. I don't I don't think it needs to be there, but and
Overall,
that doesn't mean I didn't like it, but yeah.
right. Overall, I'm disappointed in just the way this show runs in terms of its awards. But I still think overall the nominees are fine. Like, I don't think they're awful by any means. I'm just more or less like from my tweet. I don't think like the nominees are bad by any means. I just think I'm disappointed in just the fact that this is what the show is. Like this is how the show runs and formats. It's just very disappointing to see because this is the biggest show gaming event of the year, and it's called the Game Awards, which means its priority is the awards, and it's a complete joke.
Yeah.
But that being said, I think like 75% of it, I think they did a great job on.
Yeah.
So that's obviously what we're going to talk about now, leading into it. Yeah. All right. So there are, I don't know, like 30 categories maybe or something. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 24.
If it helps,
29. Okay. 30 including
Senua was nominated for visual design at the Golden Joysticks.
Well, hey, at least they got it right.
Right.
I think Golden Joysticks are completely fan voted too, so that makes sense.
People's Gaming Awards, yeah.
But anyway, dude, also there's just some categories that it's like, why is this a category? Like,
well,
why? Like, okay, I'm sorry. Most anticipated game. How do we judge this? Outside of the fact that GTA is obviously gonna win.
yeah, I feel like GTA is like the given because it's going to get popular vote for starter. So,
But let's just assume GTA is not there, and let's just say it's something like Fable or something. How do you even vote
on
for?
my list.
How do you even judge that? That's literally a popularity contest at that point.
Yeah, because I mean, not that I feel like any of the games anticipated would flop, but like they
Right.
win a game of the year, they win a game award, and then they
For
come out
potential?
4 or 5 months later and they're awful. And it's like, well, at least we won anticipated. You know what I mean? Like,
Dude, oh my gosh, that's funny. And then best family category. I I think the best family category makes sense why it's a thing. I just hate when there are categories where you can just tell they had to pick a game to fill up all the spots. Princess Peach Showtime, bro. That game that game is just okay. That game is so whatever. Uh, but it's there.
yeah, man.
And they didn't nominate
But
nominate Sonic X Shadows.
no, I know there's a good amount of people upset about that one.
Yeah. I don't know. It just I don't know. There's a lot that doesn't make sense. But anyway, we're gonna talk about it. All right, we're gonna skip all the esports categories because literally just don't care. Shout out to you guys, congratulations, but I don't care. Content creator of the year. Now, do you have anything to say about these?
Honestly, the only one I know is Queso out of the list,
same.
so I just picked. I just pretty much picked him.
Apparently,
I literally
Usada.
I literally don't know any of them.
Apparently, Usada Pepekora is a friend of Hideo Kojima's, and so everyone thinks
really?
They're gonna win. Which, honestly, knowing that piece of information, I wouldn't be shocked. So
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll see. I do know Typical Gamer. I used to wall watch him. I don't really anymore. But yeah, Queso should win this. I think he is gonna win this. But yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, we were just crapping on it. Most anticipated game.
Yeah.
What's your most anticipated game out of this? So nominees are Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Ghost of Yotai, Grand Theft Auto. Also, bro, Jeff. Okay, I get it. 95% of everybody isn't gonna pronounce the name right. But Jeff, you're official. You should look up how to pronounce Yotai because he said Yote, which I get it. That's what everyone's saying. But that's not the correct pronunciation, all right? Anyway.
You sure?
Oh, I'm sure. Because I looked it up. With Google.
Just saying.
With Google.
Google can say a lot of things.
I don't know. I might just say it. I might start saying Ghost of Yote, to be honest, just because everyone else is saying it. Like, I don't want to. I don't know. It's just like it's just annoying at this point.
It's fine. There's still people that call Mario.
Oh my god.
So.
Pokemon.
Yeah.
All right. Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds. I have to say, they did a pretty great job with. I do think like these are like 5 of the most anticipated. They're definitely missing some, but there's so many games coming out next year that like I don't blame them. Like there's like 20 snubs here, but like
yeah, for sure.
Come on. Although what I do find weird is in previous years there have been 6 nominees in this category. This year there's only 5.
Just 5.
Yeah. Which I wonder if they just did it because they obviously know Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to win. So it's like, why would we make something else lose when we could just not nominate it? That's my theory, but that definitely is not the case. What's your vote here?
So I think gameplay wise, because I've got kind of a different view on it. Gameplay wise, I think mine's Ghost. I think that's probably as far as like the gameplay goes because of recent success with how good Ghost of Tsushima is. I feel like it's one being Sucker Punch that just won't let me down. I just feel like even if it doesn't live up to Tsushima, I feel like it will not be a bad game regardless.
Right.
So I think that's just gonna like stand up for me. I think Death Stranding 2 is one of the ones I'm most interested in as far as a concept goes because I really love Death Stranding, even though I've never like thoroughly like delved 150 hours into the game to really do everything that it has to offer because it has so much to do. And then I think GTA 6 is going to win. I think that's just the obvious
Oh,
winner.
yeah. There's no contest.
But my personal one is Fable, though,
Hey,
for
shout
not
out.
being nominated. For not being nominated, that's Fable's the one that I'm most looking forward to. So, but yeah, but out of the nominees, Ghost of Yotei, I think, is what takes it sort of for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, I agree. My vote is Ghost of
I'll
Yotei
say
as well.
Monster Hunter Wilds deserves it if they win it, because Wilds looks incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
So
Honestly, I mean, yeah, generally, I'm fine with any of these games winning because I mean they are all anticipated and they all look great.
yeah, Prime 4 obviously does look great. I'm just sort of like out of touch with Metroid Prime, and I can't go anywhere without seeing Monster Hunter. Oh, backtrack a little bit. Content Creator of the Year should be Maximilian Dude. That's my Content Creator of the Year. But we'll move back on from that. But he's also
Oh,
one that keeps me sort of connected to Monster Hunter because
that's one.
he's involved in Monster Hunter. So
The also back to content creator. I've seen a lot of people complain the fact that Kai Cenat is not nominated.
yeah, I thought he was. I thought when I originally saw the lists that he was there. I almost swore that I did, but maybe I saw like
I
an
think he was
anticipation
nominated
list.
in like either like the joysticks or something else. Like he was nominated for.
I thought it was the Game Awards though, because I was like Queso, and then it was a couple people I didn't recognize, and it was Kai Cenat, and I was like, okay, so the two, I think it could go to either of those two. I'm almost positive
I will
that
say,
I saw his name on a list, but it might have been too early. Maybe
I will say, I get Kai Cenat's not like a gaming content creator.
no, but it's
like
content creator. Of
yes,
the year.
yeah, he
But it's
absolutely
around the
should
Game
be there.
Awards.
Yeah.
But it's around the Game Awards, and the ones that did get nominated consistently game. Kai doesn't. Kai popped off a little bit earlier in the year with games, but he's got Bill Nye on, he's got rappers on constantly, he's got drama going, he's doing IRL, he's taking showers with AI robots. Like it just kind of makes sense that he's not really like it just kind of makes sense that he's not really in the gaming awards content creator of the year.
Yeah.
What are they the streamies or whatever, is that just the basic like internet content awards or whatever? He'll probably win that one,
the streamer awards
if they're doing that one. Yeah, say he'll probably get that one, I had to guess, because he also just broke 400,000 subscribers, which is insane, by the way. Stop. Just let it go, man, because oh man, anyway. But yeah, no, I can see why he's not, because he doesn't consistently game. He's done a lot of gaming, but about to hit 500K soon. See, that's nuts. It's nuts. Yeah. He deserves it though. Man's on his grind. Man's constantly working. Man's constantly making phone calls, putting in work, staying up for God knows how long. Now he's got cameras all over his dang house now, like showing his whole life. Like stuff's nuts. And I don't even watch. This is just stuff I see. Like I'm as informed as I am purely off of like TikTok and Twitter/X. But here we are. Yeah. If I watched, I can only imagine. Dude's doing so much, I couldn't keep up if I actually watched. Because I'm probably so ill-informed. He's probably had so many other people on that are cooler than Bill Nye and rappers that I just didn't see it.
Yeah, bro. He had Soulja Boy recently. No.
Wow.
Anyway.
Wow.
But yeah, no.
He had Flawed Mangoes on. Shout out Flawed Mangoes.
My vote obviously goes to Ghost of Yotei because
yeah, for sure.
I mean, duh. I mean, it's the sequel.
If you had to say another one besides GTA 6, what would you say? Do you also
out of this
agree
list,
with Death Stranding?
Out of this list, Metroid Prime 4, but that's just because
Metroid guy.
Metroid's the top 3 franchise for me.
Because Remaster, I know, was pretty high on the list for you last year.
Oh yeah.
So I can imagine the next.
What I will say is, if let's take Ghost of Yotei out the conversation, because that trumps everything, right? Let's take that out the conversation. I do low-key agree with you, where I think my most anticipated like concept and like just execution of the game, I'm very much looking forward to Death Stranding 2, because it's Kojima. All he does is peak art. I'm very much just looking forward to that.
he took a very weird left turn with this one. I want to know how much
Right.
deeper he's going to dive into it. So, and based just off of what we've seen so far cinematically, it looks like a direction is being going in. So, I'm
And
so
then
for it. I can't wait to see it.
my most anticipated gameplay would be Doom: The Dark Ages. And then my most like pretty much what we were talking about like last week, like how games can kind of transcend being just like a product, a game, like being like a brand. My kind of like how you're excited for the idea of Lego Horizons, but you're not excited for Lego Horizons. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I would say like Metroid fits that. It's like I love Metroid so much. That's genuinely the reason I'm excited for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. It's not like anything that they've shown about the game specifically has me like, oh yeah, this is easily my most. It's just the fact that it's Metroid. So I would say like that fits that box for me.
Sure.
But
I also want to shout out Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I think that looks sick. I'm looking forward to that.
That game does look pretty good.
I think that looks really good. So personally.
And then Fable, is also up there for me as well.
Yeah, Fable, dude. That I'm hoping.
I have so many
I'm gonna say it all the time. I'm hoping. I want that game to be good so bad. It's probably gonna make me buy an Xbox. That's how much I want that game. I don't think my PC is gonna be able to do it. So I think that's sort of a game plan maybe for me once the holidays are over. Sort of budget towards getting myself an Xbox.
For sure.
I'd like a Series X. Because I could play disc. Because there are a couple 360 games I'd like to go back. I'd like to be able to pop Skate 2 in worry free. So.
All right, moving on to the next category here. I wish GTA 6 wasn't included. Make it more interesting by replacing it with Doom. Yeah, I know. Or Fable. Yeah, Fable. I think Fable fits the category. Like,
I think Fable, because I mean I think it is getting the recognition. I just feel like as someone who has a personal bias, it's not getting enough. But the fact that it's had multiple cinematic update trailers for it, obviously shows that it's getting love and press. So you put Doom over Fable. Well, you know what? You're not the one on the microphone. I'm just kidding. That's fine. Doom has more recency and very consistent. Agreed. That's a great point. That's why I was saying, like, with my original point with Ghost, is the consistency that I already know is going to be brought by Sucker Punch because of Tsushima. That game is like an obvious win for me out of the list as far as gameplay, lore, like visuals, just sort of the overall vibe and like aura and feel of it. That's why I'm confident in my pick in Ghost. Personally, I want Fable to be so good because of how much I love the franchise. So,
I disagree with Doom being over Fable, and that's somebody who Doom is much higher on their anticipated list than Fable, because I think the reason being, when you go onto Twitter on a weekly to week basis, and let's just say you stumble across somebody talking about upcoming Xbox games, they put more emphasis on Fable possibly being a bigger hit than Doom. It's not the fact that Doom is more recent or has had a better track record. It's the fact of, like, if a game was shown at a showcase tomorrow, which one would get more headlines? And the bottom line is Fable would, absolutely. Because that game has way more importance, and it has a lot more information that we don't know about yet. Whereas Doom, everyone's ready for it. We all know that first trailer showed us everything we needed to see, except a release date. People are ready. Whereas Fable has genuine anticipation. I would say Doom is like excitement and like ready for it. Whereas like Fable has like a different type of anticipation to the point where like people have said multiple times, even like that one Mighty Keith video like years ago when he was reacting to the Xbox showcase. It's like when Fable showed up, that was like the hope in the sky for Xbox, because that was like, there's no way. Like, if Fable is that 90+ game, that is the exact game Xbox needs. Whereas if Doom scores exactly what we think it's going to make complete sense. It's just going to be like, okay, bet Doom's back, it's better than ever. Whereas Fable will genuinely be a moment. if that game delivers. So I think like excitement wise, I do think Doom has more of it right now because it is more recent and we've seen more of it. But I think genuinely, I think the ceiling is much higher on Fable, and I think the potential is much higher on Fable, and I think the importance of Fable is much higher at the current moment. And again, this is from somebody who has Doom higher on my list, like by like 10 slots, I think. Like it's a very large margin, but because like also when you just go back and look at games that have been nominated in the past, they've all kind of been like kind of what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, they may not bring in as many numbers as this game, but when we look at like the grand scale of things and what this game means and like its absolute potential, because the description of the category too is recognizing an announced game that has demonstrably illustrated potential to push the gaming medium forward. We know exactly what we're getting with Doom. Like, we know exactly what we're getting. Whereas, like, Fable, that is the game, like, for Xbox. Like, they don't have another game like Fable right now. Whether you're, like, excited for it or not. Like, that's just easily their most important game right now.
Speaking of Fable, real quickly, did you see some of the updates that came out in the last few days? Some of the, like, leak source updates or something?
I've not.
There's only been a couple of them that I'm kind of excited for, but apparently they are giving you the option to choose between the male or female protagonist. So I guess the female protagonist is just primarily highlighted in the trailers, but you'll have a choice, I guess.
Oh, yes, I did see that. Yeah, male.
And that they're comparing the battle fighting stuff to very Witcher inspired, which I'm kind of excited about.
I did hear about that.
So
I did hear about that. We shall see.
Yep.
Dude, I'm so excited for January because Xbox is probably going to do their developer direct for Doom, South of Midnight, Avowed. Maybe they might not do Avowed actually because that's already gotten so much. I'm curious if they'll do Fable, because if they don't do Fable,
I hope so.
For sure what I said is true, that their post showcase direct in their June showcase will be a
Fable highlight.
Fable direct. They've done Starfield, Black Ops 6. Like I just said, Fable's easily their most like important, most highest potential game. That should be their direct, because that's a massive RPG. You want to fully explain that game. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what games are in the January direct. All right, we just spent so much time on anticipated game. All right, we have so many categories. Best adaptation: Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon, Yakuza, Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. Again, this kind of feels like a category that they just shoe in things because they don't have many options.
Yeah, I did pick Arcane personally. Just sort of like a lot of the stuff that I've heard about it. I hope that it's doing well, because I haven't watched and I don't know, because it's based off League, right?
Yeah.
Isn't it run off League of Legends? Like, so I don't play League. I don't know any of the lore, but just literally what I've heard about the development of how the show's made and created. I know the budget's obviously insane for it. That's just sort of where I picked it. I know the Fallout show was extremely well received, but I sort of feel like, I don't know. I don't want to say that was like an easier thing to do, because obviously it wasn't. There was a lot of time, dedication, money, and effort put into developing a video game show that's going to translate well, because that can flop really easily. There's been rumors about multiple shows that were supposed to be made that got scrapped. There's supposed to be the Horizon show that got scrapped. You know what I mean? So I just sort of picked Arcane for just the buzz that I've heard about it. Like, I heard there was one scene that was completely animated with charcoal. Like, that's just really cool. Like, you don't hear about people really doing that. Like, that's just a really cool way to do it, and to sort of turn something that I don't know. Again, I'm ignorant of the lore. Maybe there's a lot of good story stuff built around the type of gameplay that like League of Legends has, but to hear how like beautifully adapted the story is, within the show from a couple of buddies that I know that do watch it, I've just heard nothing but amazing things about it. So I just kind of picked it for the sake of what I've heard and seen myself.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with Oz. I think it's either Arcane or Fallout. I do think it is going to go to Fallout. for two reasons. Number one, Arcane isn't even fully out yet. Like season 2 is not fully out yet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird in my opinion. The fact that it was even nominated, that it's like not even fully complete. But also the fact that Arcane already won 2 years ago for season 1, I just think they'll give it to something else. Plus,
that's fair.
Fallout is the bigger hit this year.
It is.
It may not be like quality wise better. I don't even think so. Weird story about me and Arcane. I like never watch TV shows. I'm just not a TV show guy, like at all. I just hate the whole episodic thing. Like it's just, I don't know. It's just not my thing.
Yeah.
If I watch a TV show, I like binge it. It's like I wait for all the episodes to come out and then I watch it kind of like a movie, right? Just some random weekend, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just watch Arcane for the heck of it. I never watch TV shows. I'm gonna watch it. That show is literally, like Austin says, that show is a masterpiece. Like that show is a 10 out of 10. Like I was like blown away. I'm like, ain't no way I just randomly decided to watch this show, and this is like one of the best shows I've ever seen. Like it's amazing. But I do think Fallout is gonna win. I do think it made bigger waves this year. Like it literally made Fallout 4, Fallout 3, and Fallout New Vegas all like skyrocket, which is crazy. Yeah. And yeah, there's just been so much demand for season 2 and like remasters and a new game because of the show. I just think it's gonna do it. Plus, Arcane already won, and it's not fully out yet, so I do think Fallout will probably win. But no, I do think it should go to either Arcane or Fallout.
Sure.
All right, moving on. Oh, dude, this is a tough category right here. This is a hard one. This is one of the most stacked ones. Best multiplayer game. Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, or Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2.
Yeah.
Whew, boy. Best multiplayer game for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform.
Yep.
I genuinely could see any of these winning. Like, I really could.
I picked Helldivers.
Yeah.
I picked Helldivers. I think because and here's the pure reason why I picked Helldivers. It may have even fizzled a little bit, but Helldivers is as close as we've gotten to feeling like Pokemon Go in a long time. Do you remember when Pokemon Go came out and the world just stopped and did nothing but Pokemon Go?
Yeah.
That's kind of how Helldivers was for about 2 months.
Yeah.
It was just nothing but Helldivers. Everyone looking for the game physically, like I said, and also speaking from a retail perspective, like everybody wanted a copy of the game. Everybody was talking about it on podcasts. Everybody was talking about it just in general. People were tweeting about it nonstop. People are, content creators are talking about playing it off stream because of how just fun it is, and they don't want to ruin it by making content out of it because of like how fun it is. And there were memes and like communities built about it, and that people were being like public shame because not enough people were fighting the monsters, too many people were fighting the bugs. Like there were people standing up for Ultra Earth or whatever the hell the thing is called. I don't remember. I didn't play it. I own it, but nobody else I know owned it, so I've never played it. But it just what it was just so overwhelmingly positive, and I didn't hear about the game getting bad. It just seemed the player counts probably slowed down, and maybe it hasn't. Maybe it's still pretty consistent.
It's popular
solid.
It's nowhere near what it was, but it's solid.
An MP game, of course not, but a lot of them sort of get that way sometimes. If you're not one of the main ones like Call of Duty or like Fortnite anymore, like it's kind of hard to stay a 150 200,000 K consistent game nonstop. But that's why I picked it. So just what it was once it dropped, because it was everything.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it should be Helldivers as well. Yeah, like you said, like I just think it's the closest. You kind of put it perfect. It is kind of close. I don't know if Pokemon Go is the comparison. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you. But I was thinking more of like
of what it did upon release.
Yeah. Like I just do think like this is the next Destiny. Like this is the next weird comparison, like Roblox, where it's just gonna be a game that never dies in a way, as long as they just keep updating it.
Super Earth, that's what it was. I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty sure I said like Mega Earth earlier. I'm pretty sure it's Super Earth. Sorry.
But I will say, I could see any of these winning. More so, I think it's definitely going to either Call of Duty or Helldivers. I think see again, this is why I really hate the Game Awards like voting process. I really want to know
I think Tekken would deserve it if Tekken could get it. I think that'd be cool to see Tekken take it. I don't think it'll happen, but I think if Tekken takes it, that'd be cool.
I kind of agree with you. Not in best multiplayer category though. I don't think like that's its standout
No,
thing.
best fighting game probably. But for sure. I didn't vote Tekken best fighting game, but
okay.
But that's me.
I will say, like, I really wish they would explain how this voting happened. Like, what decides what wins and what gets nominated. Because I think if critics end up taking the approach of what is the better product, I think Black Ops 6 is winning. Because I think especially with all of the hiccups Helldivers 2 has had throughout the year, I think they're going to look at Black Ops 6 and see that it had a phenomenal campaign. It has great multiplayer. It has great zombies. It's polished. It has a lot of value being on Game Pass. That is the overall best multiplayer product. But Helldivers 2 easily has this was a breakout moment. This was a huge game. It's super duper fun, but it has had these hiccups throughout the year. So I'm really curious what is their approach to this? Like, what are they looking at? Because I do think Helldivers 2 should win, because when I think of multiplayer game, that is the game I think of this year. But when I look at this list and like, okay, what are critics gonna vote for? I almost think Black Ops 6 might win it, just because that's how I think they're gonna vote. But I think it should be Helldivers 2. Hudson says, I hope BO6 doesn't win. Just my personal opinion, but I think it's the worst of these 5 or the second worst. Wow. That's interesting.
That is bold.
All right, moving on. Best sports racing. Don't care, it's WWE. That's what I'm going with.
I picked WWE. Should be college football, but I think WWE too.
It really should be. I think that's the biggest snub of the whole thing, of the whole show. Like, even though I don't really care about the sports racing category, like, that's an insane snub. That is just really is. That's just a realistically wrong decision.
Yeah, I'm not even saying that Madden deserved to be there, but football getting snubbed completely.
Oh my gosh, dude.
Saying something.
Best sim/strategy. Best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami, Path of the Goddess, Manor Lord, Unicorn, or Overlord. Again, I could see multiple of these things actually winning. The one I want to win is either Kunitsugami or Frostpunk 2. I don't think Kunitsugami will win. I think it is going to be... genuinely, I think it could be Frostpunk. I think it could be Manor Lords. I think it could be Unicorn Overlord.
I agree with Austin there. He says I think either Frostpunk 2 or Unicorn Overload could take it.
I agree. But I do think Manor Lords might be a sleeper pick, because that game like is the most niche out of all of these, and like that one got like insane praise. So I think I feel like this could be one of those categories where it's like no one really cares in a way, but we all kind of like guess and understand it, and there's gonna be a complete curveball of a winner, and I think Manor Lords might be that. It's just one of those games that's like, okay, didn't see that coming, but okay.
Right.
But I do agree. I think it's Frostpunk or Unicorn Overlord. Yeah. For me, I'm going Kunitsugami, but that's just because that's the only one I've genuinely played. And I really like that game. I think that game is a hidden gem.
Cool.
Moving on, best family. See, again, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm going for too, Astrobot. But again, I really just think they need to specify, they need to thoroughly think these things out, because what are they judging this on?
I think they're just putting good quality games that are rated E.
Okay.
I think that's all it is. Just positively rated games that are rated E, and are just family-friendly titles that you could walk away from your
See,
kid
it's
while
not
they
even
play.
called Best Family Friendly. It's just called Best Family.
Well, yeah, but that's sort of the idea of it.
Yeah. Either
I
way,
would think.
it's Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and The Plucky Squire.
Yeah,
Um,
I think Astrobot or the Plucky Squire should deserve it.
lo-
Personal tastes, but
oh, I don't know about that one.
but
Plucky Squire mid. I'm sorry.
yeah, okay, and that's fine. But so is Showtime, but it's also
Oh,
it's also nominated. So, um, you know, and that's fine. But the I don't know.
here's my reasoning.
I
showed.
honestly kind of think Plucky Squire might belong in a couple of other categories based off of like the kind of gameplay and like animation and art style stuff.
I will
that
say
it
art
does.
direction. It should have been there.
So
For sure.
yeah,
Plucky
because
Squire,
that was the transitions that it does between the different game styles it was awesome. Just
yeah.
so cool.
Here's my reasoning why Plucky Squire should absolutely not win. I showed my family this game and they did not like it, so it should not win Best Family. There we go. By that logic.
Well, again, my vote's Astrobot,
And they loved Astrobot, so you know.
So yeah, I've beaten Astrobot. My girlfriend is about halfway through it herself too, so she's not doing everything. She said she wants to go back and like get all the bots and everything, but she's kind of just making her way through the levels right now. But
yeah. No, Sonic X Shadows should definitely be here. 100%. I think either Astrobot or Mario Party's winning this. I think Mario Party could win it just because that's literally this category to its prime. Like, it's Mario Party. It's literally
so Mario Party
the
is
family game. But I do think the best game here is Astrobot, easy. Yeah.
You could totally play Astrobot with the whole family though. You trade off like dying, especially in like the challenges and stuff too.
I'm gonna say
around the controller. Like,
I kind of played Astrobot with my parents like a couple times because they just loved like watching it, and then like I gave my mom the controller sometimes, and she was like trying to complete a level and stuff. But yeah. Best fighting game. For the best game designed primarily around head-to-head combat. Shout out to Marvel vs. Capcom for making this list.
Agreed.
Shout out, bro. Like, such a W. Like, I almost want to vote it just for that, bro.
I would kind of like to see it take it for just like the fact of it was a game that wasn't even supposed to happen. So,
sorry,
Doom, the family goes hard.
See, that's great. Doom does go hard
Love
with the fam, bro. Low key.
But yeah.
I almost said something crazy.
Multiverses should not be there. Couldn't agree more.
Honestly. Oh yeah, 100%. That's such an L. Rivals of Aether should be here. I heard a lot of praise for that fighting game. Or the new what's it called? Something Knights under something Knights or Reborn or Eternights or something like that. I forget what it's called. But there's one other one I saw a lot of people saying should be here. What are you voting for?
I couldn't vote. I think there's just too many good ones. Honestly, I think they're all sort of uniquely fun because they all bring their own thing. Like Sparking Zero just like brought Dragon Ball fighting back. Tekken brings Tekken, but better because it's just adapted and it's the next one and it's so good. Grand Blue, if you want to get used to it, Grand Blue Fantasy actually looks really awesome. The gameplay seems really dope.
Cool.
I watched somebody play like 2-3 hours of it one day. I mean, it was great. It was Max. I was watching Max play it. But it looked awesome. Like it seemed really cool.
I've actually played about like an hour or two of this game.
I think personally I would pick Sparking Zero because I like Dragon Ball, but I don't play fighting games all that much because I'm just bad at them. I can only play the computer, and even still, I don't play on hard. I just play normal and like maybe get through the stories. I played through the Mortal Kombat. It was interesting. I don't even own Sparking Zero. I never really played the Tekkens, but I can respect them because I ingest their content by watching other people play them, and I think just they all bring their own flair to their own genre of fighting game.
Yeah. I agree with Austin. Tekken 8 clears, I think. However, I could see this being one of those moments where recency bias carries really hard, and I could see Dragon Ball doing it. I think that should happen? Absolutely not. But it's happened in the past where recency bias just carries a lot of weight, especially since Tekken was January, and Dragon Ball is literally last month. But I do think it should be Tekken 8, and that's also what I vote for. The game was a fire. All right. Ooh, what a discussion. Best RPG. Dragon Age should be here, bro. I'm sorry. It should. I don't care what anyone says, bro. It should be here.
I don't know, man.
But at the same time, it also shouldn't. Because do I like it more than maybe all five of these games? Yes. Do I think it's better than all 5 of these games? Probably not. Maybe Dragon's Dogma. But even then, it's.
I like Dragon's Dogma.
Hey, no, I like Dragon's Dogma too. No, I like Dragon's Dogma as well.
You played like 2 hours of it.
Okay, buddy. I got through the whole first third of the game. Okay.
That's nothing. It gets so.
It's more than 2 hours.
It gets so much better.
I'm sure
the later on, it's so good.
Either way, I liked it.
It's not so good, but it's really good. I thoroughly enjoy Dragon's Dogma.
Anyway, bottom line is, I think Dragon Age should be here, but I also don't think it should be here at the same time. All right, what do you? Sorry, I don't know. It's funny. What are you voting for here? Actually, why am I even asking? I already know what you're.
It's way too easy.
Yeah,
it's way too easy.
It's Final Fantasy VII Rebirth for Jordan.
It's Rebirth for me. Yeah, it's Rebirth all day.
That is also my vote here.
I think Metaphor could deserve it if Rebirth doesn't. I think Metaphor was done really well. The first 5 or 6 hours that I played was really good. And a lot of the feedback I've heard from a couple of regulars that come in and talk about it just tell me that it really only gets better. So I'm a fan of Atlas. It's got Persona-esque type stuff, but with its own sort of flair in it. Like, it doesn't focus so much on like the modern worldy type problems. So like there's no relationship developments or things like that, but it's got like adaptive type builds depending on the way that you want to play, and decision based things here and there. Like I said, depending on how you address certain people, and I don't know. It's just done really well. But yeah, for me, nothing's going to beat Rebirth. There is a bias for me, obviously, with FF7, but I've played all of these games except Like a Dragon. Like a Dragon was the only one out of the ones nominated that I haven't played. And even playing them, I can tell you that Rebirth does it for me. So,
I mean, I agree. I mean, that's also my vote. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yep.
I mean, I've played Dragon's Dogma. I mean, I've played Elden Ring. I haven't played Shadow of the Erdtree. But I can pretty much guess like what the DLC is. And it's
fun.
Oh, I'm
Erdtree
sure.
is
I'm
fun.
sure.
I
haven't played Metaphor. I haven't played Infinite Wealth. I do plan on playing those. I'm gonna make a hot take right now, though.
Okay.
I think Metaphor is winning the whole thing.
Yeah, you think they're just gonna clean up?
I think Metaphor is gonna clean, like,
you think they're just gonna
majority of things that it's not nominated.
Their categories, yeah. I think there's a really good chance for it.
I've been listening to podcasts and videos and everything throughout like the week. There's a lot of confidence in Metaphor from like a large part of the community. Like I really think Metaphor is gonna have a run here.
No, there really is.
And also back to what I said, recency bias has a big impact. Like it really does. And the fact that there are people still trying to finish Metaphor even just helps that case.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, okay, if a game came out in October, they paid like 20 hours of it and are finished, okay, they may not be as inclined to vote for it like when the time comes. But like the fact that they are still knees deep into this game, I do think for sure Metaphor is winning this category. I'm almost like super positive about that. Just because I think that is the most pure RPG out of these. Whereas like you don't necessarily have to be an RPG fan to like Final Fantasy or Elden Ring or Dragon's Dogma, like but like you need to like know how to play an RPG for Metaphor.
I would say somewhat Elden Ring. I would say you probably necessarily can't just hop in Elden Ring and
that's true. The whole stats
necessarily know
stuff,
it. I mean you can put it, you can look and see like where your weapon scales and then just put nothing into those because that's like sort of right there. But the game doesn't really necessarily guide your hand at all anywhere. Like Elden Ring is definitely I would think a debatable for RPG because apart from like if you're not really paying attention, like there's no really direction based on where to go. You're just sort of walking. You're just sort of walking to the next spot, and if you're not paying attention to the graces or what sort of points you towards where you're going, you could get lost. So like there's the development of like learning the map and getting that sort of down pat and learning direction and again just build and lore and 7-8 different endings. I don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, my vote is Final Fantasy. But I do think Metaphor's taking this category at least. But we'll see. Shout out to Dragon's Dogma 2, by the way. This is like their only nomination, which I think is kind of crazy. But I mean, it is what it is. Best action adventure. For best action adventure game, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. I mean, God, see, just looking at these 5 games, how are these 5 games in the same category? Like, how are you even supposed to compare that?
Because you explore and there's action.
Oh.
I mean that.
I guess.
I mean it's as black and white as it can be. So
I'm sorry, just having Astrobot and Silent Hill 2 in the same category is crazy. Now, see, that's the thing.
And those are my winners.
Having having Silent Hill 2 and Astrobot in the same category isn't necessarily the end of the world. It's the problem that they're in a genre category. They're in the same genre category. What kills me, man. Oh.
Context of the action adventure doesn't matter as long as there's action and adventure.
Whatever. See. All right, so wait. So what are your votes here?
Astrobot or Silent Hill 2.
Astrobot or Silent Hill, yeah, it's good. It's good picks. I'll tell you what, it's not. It's definitely not Star Wars. Shout out for making it on the list though. Like, look.
Yeah. Hey, get your bread.
Like low key, like I do think the game got too much hate because it is a Ubisoft game.
Yeah.
But like, I think it's like a 7 out of 10. I think it's just good. I think if it's what you're looking for, it's exactly that. Like if you want a Star Wars open world game, it does just fine. I just don't think it's special in any way. So shout out for being there, but again, I don't. it blows my mind. What should be here is Hellblade. That's what should be here instead of Star Wars. I think definitely over Star Wars. Let me see what because there's a couple I think that should be in this category that isn't. By the way, my vote is going to Prince of Persia just because I do think like that is the most true of the genre. Like it literally is an action adventure game to like its absolute core. But also that's just my favorite game on this list. I think Last is Part 2 remastered should have been on here. No, it was
I mean, there's action and there's adventuring.
Real quick, going back to RPG. Snubs. We haven't been talking about snubs very often. Persona 3 Reloaded. That's tough.
Yeah.
That's tough that it's not here. But I guess the question is, would you
I
replace it
put
for
I
any of
put
the 5?
I put Reload as a snub for just like a couple of main lists. I've got a list of ones I think were snubbed a little bit more often than did need to be. So
Mm,
Persona 3 Reload is one of those.
yeah. I mean, I didn't get a single nomination.
No,
That's crazy.
and that's tough.
I also do think that is part of the flaw of coming out in January, though. Like, I think. Oh, you're so right, Austin. Power World got so snubbed. Power World's not an indie, either of the indie categories, debut or just best indie.
Power World's not a complete game.
Oh, that's true. It's early access.
Yeah.
That's true. Same reason Hades isn't
Same
here.
reason Hades didn't get nominated.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that. The biggest indie hit before Wukong. See, that's another thing. They need to see. That's another problem. What do they classify as an indie game? Because technically, Wukong kind of is indie, but it's like way bigger than indie. Like it's like a full-on AAA game. But I mean, they are independent, so it's like, you know,
another crab's treasure.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? That one was something.
What? Okay, I'm trying. Sorry, going back to what I was saying. Action adventure. What was the one I was thinking of before starting this? Where I was like, I think it should have been here over Star Wars. Oh yeah, Visions of Mana was not nominated for anything, which I can't say I'm surprised. I was not a fan of what.
Yeah, I didn't hear great things about it. Again, there's one guy that comes in fairly regularly. He's the one that praises Metaphor a whole bunch. He says he loved it. He said it was a gorgeous game, but he didn't go into details of the gameplay or story too much. He just said that it was a gorgeous game that he didn't want to put down for a while. So, but I didn't play it.
Maybe it wasn't for action adventure. I was thinking of the snub. What was I thinking? Oh, it was for RPG as well. Man, dude. 2024 was low key the year of RPGs. Right? There's a lot of RPGs this year. I think this one wasn't nominated because it was a little bit too close to the voting part. But Dragon Quest III remake, 2D remake, didn't get nominated for anything either, which I thought was pretty unfortunate.
Yeah, that might have been close to the.
Yeah, I think that was a little too close. Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door was also not. Dude, that should have been Best Family over Princess Peach. Dang. But it is kind of a remake, so I don't know if they would have considered that. But for sure, I think Hellblade 2 is the one for action adventure that I would have replaced. Yeah. All right.
Reload just got nothing because they wanted to focus on Metaphor.
Best action game. For the best game in the action genre, focused primarily on combats. You have Black Myth Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, Warhammer Space Marine 40K. This category is stacked. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think any five of these could win.
Yeah, I've got a favorite and then one that I think could win it along with it.
I do think for sure this is not the category Helldivers wins.
No.
Yes.
I
do not think Helldivers.
I like the nomination.
Yeah, facts.
But I don't think it wins. Personally, I think Stellar Blade deserves it. I think the combat in Stellar Blade was so visually well done, and I mean a lot of things about Stellar Blade are so well done. It was a game like I didn't even put many hours into. It was hard. Game spit me up and crazy, like it, bleh, just gurgled me down and threw me right back up. Like the game whooped me, but it was so fun. And again, more of the gameplay that I watched of it visually was great. The advancements that you make whenever you get the parry system down pat and learn how to really do combat in this game, it's so good. It's so good and so well done. And then I think Wukong could get it. Just some of the boss battles and even just like the random mobs that you encounter like, and the action and the type of gameplay and the adaptable like stances that you do, like depending on the enemy. I think it's just a really cool, fun take that it did. I like whenever games do that, sort of like how Ghost did it, where you had to change your fighting stance, your sword stance based off of the kind of enemy that you were doing. Like Wukong sort of let you do that on your own merit based off of how you want to do it. Some people probably stayed with one pose the whole time. I'm sure there's somebody out there who perfectly knows which stance to do for each one and when to switch to it and when to do this and when to do that, and I think that was cool. I just think personally visually is where Stellar Blade wins it for me. So
Visually, Stellar Blade wins it.
Visually, as the action takes place.
Oh, okay, action. Okay, I was about to say,
yeah.
Interesting. I actually agree with you. I think Stellar Blade or Space Marine should win here.
Space Marine was really cool.
For somebody who Black Myth Wukong is their current game of the year. I don't think it should win this category just because the combat, while I love it, it's definitely not like its biggest selling point, kind of like Stellar Blade or Space Marine is. Like when I personally, I think Black Myth should have been in the action adventure category. Personally, I don't think it's
honestly
wrong for being an action either, but I think
especially
Stellar Blade,
with the action adventure game, because that time that you and I were sitting there playing it.
Oh yeah,
and you were watching me, and I went and got that because I'd rung the 3 bells in the first area and was able to get like the initial like bandana or whatever that you get, because you didn't do that. Like if you if it was fully dependent on you being like adventurous sort of in that area and like doing things differently like with it, like just that alone, that impression was like is where that belonged more often, I think.
Yeah. But like when I think action games this year, I definitely think Stellar Blade and Space Marine first, over Black Myth Wukong.
Sure.
You feel like Wukong's biggest selling point has been the action combat. It has to a certain degree. It depends on the person, because I would say for me it wasn't the biggest selling point. It was the whole just idea of Chinese mythology and the fact that it looked so gorgeous, mixed with like an interesting looking gameplay, and stuff like that.
An adaptation from a famous story too of Journey to the West.
Right.
So.
But the problem here is the combat is kind of mixed with a lot of people. Like I've seen a lot of people who are like, Black Myth Wukong would be one of my favorite games of the year if I liked the combat. While a lot of people can't deny its success and its quality in a lot of areas, there are people, which is why it's at like 8 out of 10 for a lot of people, who just didn't like the combat, say, as much as something like Stellar Blade or Space Marine. If you did like the combat, that's why Wukong is considered game of the year for a lot of people. It really just depends if you clicked with the combat or not. Whereas in that case, I do think the overall better action game is Stellar Blade or Space Marine, because those are the games where you can just have absolutely mindless, insanely awesome hack and slash, killing a bunch of things and doing these really cool things. Whereas like Black Myth Wukong, while it does focus on combat a lot, it didn't click with a lot of people, and I do think there is more to that game than just combat. Like Jordan and I were saying, you could go off so many different paths, do so many different things. I literally spent 10 hours just completing the secret ending quest, which is like definitely an action adventure type thing. Like you have to go collect these little artifacts. You have to go do all these weird things to do it. It has RPG aspects with like stats and everything. Like it's just a lot that I think Black Myth Wukong doesn't scream best action game to me. That being said, I do think Black Myth is gonna win it. Like if I had to predict what's gonna win, I do think Black Myth's gonna win. Because I mean, see, and again, that goes back to why I hate this system. The fact that it's nominated for game of the year, does that automatically mean that it's gonna win this category? Because apparently those are the top 6 games of the year, so it's obviously the best game out of these 5. Like it doesn't make sense to me. Like I really wish they would clarify what they judge things on based on each category, instead of just trying to very poorly describe what this category means. Explain like what you're actually judging in these categories, because you could just easily say, okay, well, Black Myth is nominated for Game of the Year, so it's obviously going to win. But then if something like Black Ops 6 wins, you're going to be like, okay, why is that? And there's going to be absolutely no explanation. So I do find that just really, really weird. But I do think Wukong's going to win. If I had to pick one, I'm going Stellar Blade or Space Marine. I've only played a little bit of Space Marine, but I really like it. And then Stellar Blade, I think, just has a lot of love for it. It's a game I do plan on playing before the end of the year, but
Yeah.
that's fair. But I just get that feeling Wukong is going to win this category. If not, I hope Stellar Blade wins it. I want it to win at least one award, which is between this and OST. Good luck beating FF7. Yeah. Yeah, it's a tough one. All right, moving on. Best VR AR game. Asgard's Wrath or Batman Arkham. Boom. It's one of those two.
Yeah.
I'll go with Batman Arkham just because I actually kind of want to play that. Best mobile game. Yo, shout out to Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, bro. That game's taking off right now.
Nomination and barely being out.
Yeah, that game's taking off right now.
Yeah. I've got that as my pick, but I have no clue. I don't play any of them.
Yeah.
So I've never played it. I've never played AFK. Balatro, I mean, the freaking Game of the Year nominee.
Right. So again, that's also back to what I was saying is the fact that it's nominated for Game of the Year just automatically means it wins any category that it's by itself in. Like it just. So,
which, by the way,
I bought Balatro the other night. I played
mobile game nominated for Game of the Year is insane.
Well, it's not just a mobile game. It's also on PC.
I know, but like, wow.
I mean, yeah, no, I get it.
A game formatted like friendly enough to be a mobile game or not, like, that's cool.
Honestly,
imagine if Balatro won Game of the Year. Woo, that would be something.
That would be something. Imagine
this freaking
one of the other things won Game of the Year. Anyway, best debut indie game. This is a fire category too.
Yeah.
Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, The Plucky Squire. I think they did a pretty good job here. Even outside of my opinion of Plucky Squire, I think it's like a 6 out of 10 game.
Yeah.
I think it deserved to be here. It was
a
a big enough indie game that it made a debut impact. So
I feel like I heard good things about Animal Well, but I haven't played it.
Oh yeah.
And then the two in the middle, I can't. What did I write? What is it?
Manor Lords and Pacific Drive.
Laser Eyes, and then Neva.
Oh,
wrong.
Yeah,
Indie,
wrong
debut
one.
Indie. Animal Well, Balatro, Pacific Drive. I will say we had a commercial play for Pacific Drive at work. That made the gameplay look really interesting. Like the cinematic sort of trailer for it did make the gameplay look really interesting. I always thought about seeing if any of the creators I watch would play it, but nobody ended up playing it. So I still need to kind of go out of my way to check some gameplay on it. But
yeah,
the trailer seemed really cool.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people say Nine Souls should have been nominated for Best Indie, not debut indie, because they've made a game already. The studio for Nine Souls have made it was like a weird horror game before not Nine Souls, but it should have been nominated for Best Indie, just not debut indie. Here's my take: Balatro is getting enough love here. Animal Well should win this because of the whole story that Donkey's gonna make a pub publishing company, and like this is his first game, and it ended up like blowing every expectation out the water. I think like in terms of debut impact, I think Animal Well should win it. Like I think that company made the biggest splash with their debut game. I do think Balatro is gonna win Best Indie, of course, but I think Animal Well should win Best Debut. At least give it some love because Balatro is obviously getting a lot of love. So, but yeah.
Whoa.
And then next category, Best Indie Game, not debut.
Yep, just
Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei, and the Laser Eyes.
Lorelei
And the Laser Eyes. Neva and UFO 50. Yo, I want to play UFO 50, bro. I heard someone talk about this game. It looks actually so cool. It's basically like 50 completely new and original, like basically like Atari arcade games combined into one game. Yeah.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah.
But it's not just like a compilation of old games into one. Like they legit came up with new games.
It's their own adaptations.
Yeah,
within the format. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They pretty much acted like they were a publisher for Atari back in the day, and they made 50 games for the Atari, and they put them all into one game in this one, and they tell a connected story throughout all 50 games. Like low-key, bro, I want to play that because that sounds sick. That sounds awesome.
It does sound cool.
But my vote here is going Neva because I think that game's a masterpiece. I think that game's 10 out of 10. Like I really want this game to win something. I think its best chance is art direction, because I mean look at it. But Balatra's winning this, I think, because I mean again it's nominated for a game of the year. So does that automatically mean it wins? I don't know. I wish they tell us these things, but
yeah.
Good category though. Best community support.
Yeah.
I don't really have a say in it, but I mean, the fact that we're well over a year and Baldur's Gate 3 is still going insanely strong, I think it's going to that.
That's what I have as my vote. Is BG3.
I definitely don't think Helldivers should win this because with all the hiccups they've had.
I have Helldivers as a nod to the nomination.
For sure.
Obviously, I mean, if Fortnite is always just going to be enormous, I do know there's been a lot of love for Final Fantasy 14 this year, with some of the gameplay and expansion stuff that they did. They put a 16 expansion in there that apparently did pretty well, to my knowledge. So, I think the ongoing love that 14 gets is pretty cool and could deserve a little nod. But yeah, I think the winner and sort of the personal feel, because it's the only connection I have, is BG3. But I do think as is, it's going to stand, especially with like the modded communities and stuff that they put out now for it, and how a lot of that's become like user friendly with like patches, and how there was the recent patch that put out that disabled a lot of mods, and somebody immediately went out and created their own version of the game that like dips it back to the old one, so you can still use your mods until they update the patch again. That happened hours after that. Like there was no hesitation. Like this game is still making waves in its players. So.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, well, when I just look at these 5 and what game I think has the strongest community right now, I think it's Baldur's Gate. Like,
No Man's Sky kind of...
No Man's Sky is also really great.
Surprised a little bit. That was one... that's one game that I guess I should eventually maybe even try out, but... I never gave that game a shot, obviously, because of the just awful launch.
Yeah.
But
see, I played it in launch too, and I didn't like it, and so it's so funny. Like, it's just crazy. Like when I look at it now, I'm like, because I played that game when it first launched for like 5 hours, and then I decided I'm like, I'd rather go play Horizon. It was, I think it was the same year Horizon came out. And then. Now when I look at it, I'm like, bro, this isn't even the same game. Like, I'm like, how is this the same game? It doesn't make sense. Best ongoing game. All right, huge snub here. All right, hear me out. Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League.
Ew.
The fact that it's still alive is a testament.
Stop talking.
No, it was a joke. It was a joke, bro. It was a joke. All right.
Oh my god.
Oh my gosh. No, I saw someone say that. Like the fact that they haven't shut the game down already is low key impressive. It should be nominated for best ongoing game.
Oh.
I'm like, honestly, you're kind of right. Like, how has the game not been stopped yet? Like, what the heck?
Because there's a story mode to it also.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, they can still shut the servers down, just not like completely.
I picked 14 for this.
Interesting. Okay.
Personally, I think Again, it's same deal. Just I mean, Diablo has sort of had its ups and downs a little bit with like patches and releases and seasons. Destiny 2, I'll admit I don't really know too much about. I know there's still a pretty decent community playing Destiny, as well as obviously Fortnite, good old fork knife. I know that's a pretty ongoing consistent. But again, some of the responses with like the seasons and the updates this year, like Fortnite's, I feel like has been a little bit up and down. Once people sort of get adapted to it, like we're still playing Fortnite, but I just think the effort with merging the other titles into the MMO of 14 is still just a really really cool way to just keep love for all of the titles into one that they've dedicated as the MMO, and then just purely being just a very populated game still, I think just wins it for me.
Yeah. Best ongoing. I'm gonna go Destiny 2.
Cool.
Just because the only reason is like, because obviously I see when all five of these games get updates or get added new things, and out of these 5, like the Final Shape expansion for Destiny 2 is like the only thing out of these 5 games that have made me go like, I kind of want to play that. So in my eyes, that's kind of a win. So I'll just choose that. Games for impact. Okay. This is a tough one because
see, I don't know the story that a lot of these are apparently trying to tell.
Okay.
So that's kind of why I just sort of instinctively just voted Hellblade. But I don't know because I don't actually know like what the bigger picture behind Hellblade is because I haven't played it.
Right.
So I don't have Xbox. So I have not played it.
Here's again my issue is what exactly are we looking for in this category? Because there have been a multitude of opinions across like social media where some people don't even know what Neva is about, like in terms of like its pro-social meaning. For those of you who don't know, it's about like environmental protection and nature and stuff like that. But then it's also about like redemption and like family and caring for loved ones and stuff like that, and supporting generations to come and stuff like that. People think Neva's gonna win because it's the best game on this list, right? But then the problem is there are some people who don't exactly know what its pro-social meaning is, because the description for this category is for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. So people are like, okay, Neva's amazing, but like, what exactly is it doing in that description? Life is Strange Double Exposure usually wins this category every time it's nominated for it, except this year's has been kind of underwhelming for a lot of people. It has like a much lower score than what we're used to with Life is Strange. I'm surprised it's even here.
But is it still getting its
people don't know? No, see that's also the problem. Is
gameplay. Okay.
People don't really know what its pro social meaning is this time around either.
Sure.
Hellblade 2 again wasn't universally praised. It was. I think it's still a great game, and I'm gonna stand by that. I think it's still a solid 8 out of 10 game. But, I think again, I don't know what they're looking for with this category, because I'm not gonna say, I don't know. It's kind of weird because Hellblade 2, the whole idea of the game is the main character, which is Senua, has psychosis, or is that right? Yes, psychosis. I think that's the right word.
Okay.
Yes. Where basically she hears voices throughout her head. Okay. But like, is that what they're looking like? What is the best representation of a like social message or whatnot? Because then you have Tales of Kenzera, Zao, which the whole game is about loss and about like culture, like African culture and the loss, and like how you celebrate that, and or not how you celebrate, how you like, well, I guess I don't know if the celebrate's the right word. I know that it comes off really wrong, but like how they like gather and how they like, I don't know the right word, how they basically
Brought
like
the attention, essentially.
basically like funeral, like their funeral, like, but they like throw all these like huge events together and stuff like that. Um, but people are really mixed on this because everyone says the best pro social meaning here, like the best execution for it, is Tales of Kenzera. Like that game, or had a lot of thought provokingness with its pro social meaning the best. But Hellblade 2 is the one that everybody knows the most. Like when you think Hellblade 2, everyone's like, okay, it's about Senua and psychosis.
Right.
So
Sure.
that's like pretty prominent. So you would think, okay, maybe that's going to win for best impact. But then you have games like Life is Strange, which usually wins the category, except this year, no one really knows what it is about. But then you have people who think Neva should win because it's the best game on the list. But there are some people who don't even know it's pro social meaning, even though it does have one. They're just obviously not blind, or they are blind. So I really don't know what's going to win here.
Yeah.
I do think Hellblade is probably going to win. Just because I think that's probably the one that everybody knows the most. Again, I'm voting for Neva just because that's my favorite game on this list. I think that game is a masterpiece, and I do love its meaning and its message. So, yeah, I'm going with that.
Word up.
Also, the description is for a thought-provoking game. I think that was the one that made me like. I've only played Neva and Hellblade, but out of those two, like I was definitely had way more emotions playing Neva than I did Hellblade.
Okay.
Innovation and accessibility. I don't care. Dragon Age is gonna get my vote because it's the only one it's nominated for. So I gotta show it some love here. But also, that point aside, it does do a great job with how many settings you can do.
Call of Duty.
I will say Call of Duty probably gonna win because the amount of HUD optimization you're able to have in that game is insane.
Game Pass.
Yeah, it's very accessible.
Very accessible.
Yeah. Don't. This category we can go over.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Best
Easy.
Performance.
Easy.
I know you're choosing. Brianna White, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Hannah Tell, Life is Strange Double Exposure. Humberly Gonzalez, Star Wars Outlaws. Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2. Melina Jurgens, Senua Saga, Hellblade 2. I'll tell you right now, it's between three. It's between Brianna, Luke, and Melina. I do think Luke is gonna win it. But I don't know, man. This one's gonna be tough.
Dude, Brianna White did such a good job, man. And I'm 100% biased. I am. That's why it's like it's probably hard for me to like genuinely express it. But oh my God, did Brianna White do such a good job, dude? Her Aerith rendition is just done so well, man. Rebirth. I can't talk about it enough. Like if you know anything about the story of FF7 and you really hear the passion and even like because she's also very vocal and she's a content creator and she streams. So hearing her like opinions while playing the game, also too, just knowing her passion behind it and her talking about it like while doing it, and then just hearing it and communicating it and having a personal connection with it. Also, just having consumed all of the 7 lore in that I have, like I said, does sort of show some of the bias on my side. But it was just done so well. I don't know what Star Wars Outlaws is doing in here.
Okay, well, hold on. Hold on.
No offense. And I have watched some of the performances for Hellblade 2. I think Melina is doing an absolutely amazing job, especially like being like mocap and it looking so good. I can understand where Melina would deserve it, potentially as well if they just want to go towards some of like the somewhat niche vote. I think she's less likely of the three you said. Personally,
Okay.
personally,
I don't
but
think you're wrong necessarily.
Luke did a great job. Again, I've watched I watched people play through Silent Hill twice. Like I've watched 2 full playthroughs of other people playing Silent Hill. It's an extremely well done game. His part in it, I mean, he brought it to the remake again for a game that was doubted, and had some pretty sketchy things to look at for it to just fulfill everything it had to do on top of the VA work being great. I can see it. I can see it being where it is. So, was Japanese voice actors would be included? Yeah, that would be cool.
So very interesting. So Melina Jurgens has actually already won Best Performance when the first game came out.
Mm-hmm.
She won Best Performance. So I could see the reason of she not winning here because she's already won. Again, I don't know. I don't know if critics look at that though. Is the problem?
Yeah. I don't know, man.
But here's what I'll say, and this is why, again, this is a really interesting category, and I wish they would specify what they're judging. I sound like a broken record, but I wish they did, because I think the best character here is Aerith. Right? She is Aerith, correct?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think the best character here is Aerith. I think the best performance is Senua. Like I think her role, role is the most difficult role to do. But then I think the character that carries the game the most is Silent Hill 2. Like genuinely, I do not think I think without Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2 would just be like a good horror game. But instead, like, you just feel like I don't know, his performance. It's just so hard to explain his performance. His performance is something else in that game.
It should go to Ashley Birch for re-recording Zero Dawn remastered lines. That's who it should go to. I'm just kidding.
But so I think depending on what they go for here will be interesting, because I do think genuinely, like, I've heard a lot of people say Brianna White should win because Aerith was just such a great character, and like the character's execution was amazing. But then I see people saying Melina just plays such a different role, and she does it on such a different level. It's hard to not give it to her. But then like Luke Roberts, Loki carried like the Silent Hill 2 in terms of characters. Like he added so much to the game.
Yeah.
So. But I will say, hold up now. Okay, Hannah Tell, congratulations for doing that. I don't really know anything about you. I'm surprised you're here, to be honest, just because I haven't heard great things about Double Exposure. But Humberly Gonzalez. All right, I know you said get out of here. The main character is one of the only, like, shining parts of the game. All right, so I could actually see why she's here. All right, like, I did enjoy the main characters in the game, but yeah, her performance was fun. Now this is though a category. There are snubs. First and foremost, I haven't even played the game, but I can tell you right now, Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth should have had probably Ichiban. I'm guessing would probably be the one that they should have nominated instead. I genuinely do think a Dragon Age person should have been here. I know that's, again, a personal take. But then I also think, what was the other one I was looking at? Loki, you can nominate a lot from Hellblade.
You really could.
Like all the characters, and Final Fantasy. You can nominate multiple. I think that might have been
because so many performances in Rebirth was done so well in some of the emotional moments. I pulled up the list here because I don't have them all memorized, but seriously, like Cody Christian as Cloud, Britt as Tifa, John Bentley as Barrett. there's a couple of Barrett moments that are just super well done voice acting wise. Max Middleton for Red 13. I mean, all of them do such an incredible job. Paul bringing voice to Kate Sith was freaking incredible. Susie did a great job with Yuffie. Not to just call them all out right now, but I have to. I mean, so many of them could have done well. So the singling out Aerith was crazy. Not crazy, but like singling out Aerith and that being the only representative to me is hard because I think they all did so well. So
What about the lady who plays Eve, bro? In Stellar Blade.
oh yeah, I see, and I thought the voice acting in Stellar Blade was good. Um, a handful of people that I've seen come into the store say that they thought that was one of the worst parts was the voice acting in it, and I was like, I don't know, like I thought it was cool. I don't know, the communication you have with the dude, like in your headset, like felt like a very normal, like natural conversation.
That's the one
like
I was thinking of.
it actually feels like conversation in it. And, it just feels like people talking. It doesn't feel like people reading lines, and that's what it sort of does for me with some of those games. But yeah, I thought Stellar Blade was addressed pretty well, but apparently I'm a rare few. So
Well, I will admit, the other day when I was in GameStop, you told me you loved the story of Stellar Blade. You were like the first person I've heard say that.
I think it's good, man.
But hey, shout out to you.
Good.
I
think
haven't played it, so I don't know. I can't really
I
say.
think the build up and the heartache is good that you get with it. The emotional reason that you're excelling beyond a certain point is good. Like I don't know, man. I think I just think it has a bit of a rough view from about 50% of people, but it's fine. It's not for everyone, and that's why games are so cool. Like I can feel so passionate about something, and literally the bulk majority of other people can't.
100%.
That's okay.
Me with Dragon Age, for real.
Yep.
Literally, I basically have a whole section of my shelf here with my Dragon Age stuff, but that's okay. I just remember the snub here that I've heard people raging about. There's no metaphor performer here.
Yeah, and I don't 100% know why that is. Maybe because of I don't know, maybe the English translator. I don't know, because there's some really good speeches in the first couple of hours that are just really extremely well done. The Luis from the beginning that you run into, his performance in the first 5-6 hours of the game, the couple monologues that he has are very good. So,
all right, moving on. Best audio design. This one's hard.
Yeah.
It's going to Hellblade or Silent Hill. But I like all three of the other picks as well, though. Call of Duty always gets nominated for audio design. But, I mean,
Yeah.
I can't blame them. They do such a great job with all the guns and stuff.
They do.
Final Fantasy does a great job. I will say Astrobot might be a sleeper pick because of what they do with the DualSense and stuff like that.
Yep. That's why Astrobot's my pick, because of that. The innovation with the game sounds itself from the TV, and the constant sounds you get with the interactivity of the DualSense speaker.
Yeah,
is just so well done. That is an audio design choice. I'm not even talking about the I am Astro. Like I'm not even talking about the song or the menu or anything. I am just purely talking about how the audio works within the game. The sounds of your booster coming through your controller. You're going around hitting the items, clickety clackety when you got the little poker chips that you're hitting around everywhere. Like it's just so good. It's so clean sounding. It's consistent the entire time that you're doing it. I just think it's an extremely cool audio design direction for a game that's just a little different and deserves the nom for sure. If it doesn't win, fine, but belongs in the crowd.
Yeah. Dude, again, this is like, and I'm kind of realizing how much I think this it's such a shame the gameplay of Hellblade is not more than what it is, because I think from a technical aspect, this game is just levels ahead of so many other games. Because I am gonna vote for Hellblade here again as well. Like its audio design is, I mean, it genuinely is a one of a kind. Like the fact that you hear voices left and right, behind and forward, down and up. The fact that you just hear the fact that they literally had a whole document, like a whole 20-minute documentary explaining the audio design of this game and using subs and using the EQs to make certain voices sound like just the way they did it. Like literally one of the biggest selling points of this game was its visuals and its audio. Like, and so I do think Hellblade's gonna win. I agree with what Austin said. I'd say Silent Hill 2 will win because apparently they made a horror game scary with just noises. The noises are really good. Like the audio is really good in Silent Hill 2. The problem is I just don't think it's unique enough or pushes anything like super forward. Its execution is really great. But you could say Alan Wake did pretty much the same things last year, just maybe not to as extreme of a. Whereas I think Hellblade 2 technically is just Hellblade is just like in its own category when it comes to audio. Like it's weird. It's crazy. This might be the first category where all three of us have a different pick here of what we think should win. But shout out to Black Ops 6 and Final Fantasy as well, though. They did a really good job. Moving on. Whew. Best score and music. All right, I'm going to go and say it. Silent Hill 2 has great music. It should not be nominated here.
No, but again, I can appreciate the nomination,
yeah.
I suppose.
I don't think it's bad. I just think there's much better options.
Yep, it's Rebirth all day for me.
Heck, I would have picked Outlaws music over Silent Hill. I'm not gonna lie. Outlaws music slap. I ain't gonna lie. Black Myth Wukong's music, bro. Yeah. Bro, where is the recognition for that dude shredding the banjo or guitar, dude?
I'll be honest.
Like, what the heck?
Be represented. It should be I don't even remember it, but
come on.
Dude, yeah, no, that start of that chapter 2 part was insane. Should at least have a nomination. If Stellar Blade won this, I would cry. Yeah, I don't know if it definitely deserved. Like, I didn't play the whole game, Stellar Blade. Like, I haven't beaten it, so I don't know if the game gets better, if the music gets better late game. Yeah, no, Wukong I think definitely deserved a nomination at least. But I think even if it did, and even how good it is, and again, beyond my bias, because I've definitely got it, but I'm going to speak that it's not completely from it. Rebirth brought it.
Yeah, I think Rebirth. I think Rebirth's winning free. Like the only one I could see beating it is Metaphor, but that's just because of how many people are glazing Metaphor. So yeah, who knows? Oh yeah, because apparently the battle theme in Metaphor is like insanely awesome.
It's good
or something.
It's good.
So.
Dude, it's so good. It's so catchy. The opening's catchy too. Like whenever you're playing for like the menu is really good. Just the modest music while you're going around is nice. Metaphor music's good. I just don't think I don't think it beats out. It doesn't beat out Final Fantasy.
No, I agree with you. I think if Final Fantasy wins any category,
it just brings too much. There's so much unique audio brought in every single area, as well as just remastering the classics. Now, mind you, Austin sort of brought up that Final Fantasy is cheating because it's bringing up nostalgia of all the old tracks too. Which maybe that's not why he's cheating, but it is part of it. But hearing some of the classics brought back, dude. Oh, couldn't imagine.
Yeah.
The Golden Saucer, hearing the Golden Saucer music, just redone with this modern take of like orchestral love. Oh, did I disconnect?
No, you're good.
Okay. I think Discord just froze on me for a second.
Oh.
Anyway. But yeah.
I completely agree. I think it's going Final Fantasy 7 here.
Yeah.
I will say,
Yeah.
I'm glad Astrobot got the nomination because the God of War remix and the Uncharted remix and stuff like that. Oh my gosh.
The
Horizon remix,
good.
dude, they're all like those songs live in my head rent free.
The original music just from it too. I mean, the
yeah.
Astrobot song itself is catchy and fun to listen to while you're playing.
Yeah.
It really is.
I could low-key see I could see I don't know. I could see 4 out of these 5 winning. I definitely think Rebirth is winning.
Yeah.
But here's what I'll say about Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth. I've said this for years. You can go back and watch like my 3-year-old video at this point, I think maybe, where I ranked top 10 OSTs of all time. I had Final Fantasy 7 at number 1, and it's still at number 1 to this day, and I'll stand on business. I genuinely believe Final Fantasy 7, not even just Rebirth or Remake or the original, I think just Final Fantasy 7 as a whole, as a brand, has the greatest OST of all time.
Yep.
Not even in just video games, in movies and any like. I can't not name you a single OST that has as many tracks that mean so much to each chapter in the story, that means so much to each character, that means so much for each action, each idea, each thought. Like it is the most perfectly like executed OST you could ask for. It's massive, and none of the tracks are filler or useless. Like they are all perfectly placed, and they are all formatted to make the experience better. Like it genuinely is just one of the best OSTs ever. So I think it wins here, clear. But shout out to all the other ones. I've yet to play Stellarblade, so I don't really have a say, but I have heard some of his music, and it's really good. All right, moving on. Best art direction. There's definitely some snubs here, but again, are you putting them above any of these 5 is the thing. However, here's what I will say. I feel like a lot of the negativity towards this year's Game Awards, including my own negativity, is due to the fact that last year there were so many games that there was so many snubs. Like, you could have had a list of 12 Game of the Year nominees if you really wanted to, and everyone would be like, yeah, I see that. Yeah, that makes sense. Whereas, like, this year in a lot of categories, like, we'll get to narrative here in a second, but, like, even Austin, what was saying yesterday, he was like, I would not have nominated Infinite Wealth for Best Narrative. I loved it and I thought it was great, but I would not have done it. I'm like, I've heard that too, that it's just great. It's not like amazing or worthy of it. But at the same time, what are you going to replace it with? Because there is nowhere near as many games that came out this year as last year. And so I feel like a lot of negativity is like games got nominated, and for the opinion level of it, people are like, does it deserve to be there? But then at the same time, you have to think, what would have replaced it? Because this isn't last year where there's like 20 options that you could have gone with. So, yeah. So best art direction, though, is one where I feel like you could have thrown in a couple other ones and it would have made sense. But the nominations are Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Metaphor Fantasio, and Neva. I don't think Elden Ring should be here. It's the same art style as the original. I guess just more boss designs, which, okay, I'll give it the right recognition there. But
yeah, I'd say the definite design of the new bosses and the mobs, the fire golems. I mean, that was again a really cool thing. It just it's for a game that's already here, but here we are.
Yeah. First and foremost, Hellblade should be here. 1,000%. I would replace Hellblade with any of these 5. I genuinely think Hellblade is just like one of the best looking games ever. Another one, I personally would put Prince of Persia in here. I loved the art style of Prince of Persia. The whole cutscenes with so many like just anime-esque fights, man, just super awesome. I mean, I love the Mario and Luigi brothership art style, but obviously that's not gonna get nominated. You know what would be hilarious if Dragon Age. Can you imagine? Can you imagine the backlash if if Dragon Age got nominated? Oh, dude, I would have loved.
Oh
to
yeah,
see
I
it.
could.
I would have loved to see it. Horizon Zero Dawn remastered. Imagine that.
Oh, I'd be about it.
Yeah.
I'd be about it. Obviously,
this is
it doesn't need to be there, but
this is the one category where I do think Plucky Squire should have been in.
Oh yeah. That was the one I was bringing up earlier as far as like art direction.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if it doesn't win, Plucky Squire deserved a nomination to be in it for creative technical achievement. Like in like a different way to do things in an artistic direction that isn't necessarily the same thing.
Yeah.
Like Plucky Squire was the recipe for that. So yeah, I don't know, a little odd. I've got Astrobot and Metaphor for this.
I also think, I mean, even though I didn't like the game, Visions of Mana also had a great art style. You could even throw that one in there. Unicorn Overload or Overlord, Jesus, it's also great. There's a lot of great art styles this year. A lot of great art direction done this year. I have Black Myth Wukong winning this one.
Okay.
Just because also this is like one of the first games to actually utilize Unreal Engine 5 like properly, without issues and without like just problems. Like this game actually like delivered on its Unreal Engine 5 promise. But also just the depiction of the mythology and the culture here is a part of art design. And I think that's done like just absolutely dang near perfectly. Like it's one of the most brought to life mythologies and cultures I've seen like in any video game. Just its environments, its character designs. Of course, it's just the graphics are just beautiful. I'm going with that, but I do think Metaphor could probably win this. I think it might. And then I wouldn't be mad if Nev won either. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of the game in a way. Is it's art direction, so I could see that. I definitely don't think Astrobot's gonna win. I wouldn't be mad at it. I just don't think it's going to. Just because it's not like anything like really necessarily new. It's just again, it looks great. And then Elden Ring definitely should not win this. Oh my gosh, if Elden Ring wins this category, that's such a robbery. Like that's such a robbery. But yeah, there's so much that got snubbed. Like Persona 3 Reload could also be nominated here. Like there's so many things that could have been nominated here, but definitely Hellblade should have been here. No, yeah. Allison said Hellblade 2 should be here, no questions about it. I think it should be here, and I think it should win it. Low key, like
Reload probably could have been nominated for OST too, honestly.
Oh yeah, that's another good one. But yeah, art direction is it's a tough category right there. Best narrative. Yeah. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor Fantasio, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2. This is a tough one. Because
no, it's not.
Oh yeah? I'd love to hear why.
Because
tell them how it is, bro. Tell them how it is.
Do you want to know why it's Rebirth? Because it's Rebirth. It's 100% Rebirth. It's going to be Rebirth. It's okay. So for starters, for outstanding storytelling and narrative development in a game, they are already doing that since the first game. They are telling a narrative story that has already been told over again, not in the same timeline, not in the same universe. There is more to be known that isn't known. They are retelling a story while trying to tell the same thing, and they are building lore within those stories to explain what they're doing with their narrative storytelling. Like they are creating things within their own game that are saying why they're doing what they're doing. And they continue to do that on like such a high level scale with the development of characters. They're adding personality, they're adding bigger backstories to these people. They're adding more emotional developments. They're changing personalities of certain people in certain environments. They're adding deeper context to a story that is already huge and done so well and regarded as one of the better stories of the 90s. Like they're they're pushing it. They're pushing a game that some people would already say is one of the better stories ever told, with some of the better characters ever created, and they are tipping it on its head and making it, I don't necessarily want to say better, but making it so much bigger in a different and exciting way that none of these other games are just really doing that, because they're doing it in different, I don't know. Again, I don't know much about Like a Dragon and the Yakuza franchise, and like the adaptations that they've done like through those, so I can't really say too much about that. As obviously Silent Hill's narrative is extremely well done, but again, it's like stories that's already told with like apart from a couple of like, you know, additional like endings that they might have added to it, like the events that transpire basically sort of happen somewhat as they already do. The big like sort of twist ending is still the same. But I, man, it's Reaper's just so good. It's just you break it down. Rebirth is bigger than the game itself, because it goes back to remake, it goes to Crisis Core, it goes to the OG FF7, because they're all the same but different. And this game is making the different while explaining why it's different because of the original. And that's just, even if you're not a bias to the story, that's so freaking cool. Like that's just so like the passion and love behind that, and then to not give us a half-ass product along with your great story. Like you're giving us a well done product that performs and tells a good story that's already been told and is also being reshaped. Wow, hello. So yeah, narrative, outstanding storytelling, doing its job, doing its freaking job.
Yeah. I will say, kind of going off like what you say. There's a reason FF7 is looked at to be the absolute benchmark and blueprint of what like an absolute remake is. Like,
Yeah,
because it just takes everything and just completely expands upon it and does it in a way that's just levels ahead of anything else in its lane. Part of that is its narrative. So here's what I'll say is my vote is going to Final Fantasy VII.
I did see Max say something about not picking Rebirth for narrative because it's not done yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think that should matter, because
if you think about it, no game story is finished yet.
Not necessarily, no.
Because there could always be a sequel.
Yeah.
Like, but my vote is going to FF7 Rebirth as well. I will say this year's been really light in my opinion in terms of stories for me. Like I haven't really connected with any stories outside of Dragon Age, which is why I love that game. But I am going to vote Rebirth because of pretty much what we've talked about in some of the recent podcasts, where characters just are like one of the most important things for me. Like, you need to have good characters for me to love your story, and this game is like the definition of that. Like, there's so many great characters in Final Fantasy VII, and that's what I grow attached to. But I do think Austin's wrong here. He says, I could see a huge upset here with Silent Hill 2 or Metaphor. I don't think there is going to be an upset. I think the easy answer is Metaphor. I'm almost 100% confident Metaphor's going to win. Like I've heard so much confidence that Metaphor is gonna win.
I've
Best
heard a lot,
narrative
but
here.
I don't know, man.
Hey, we'll
We'll see.
Yeah. I definitely don't think Silent Hill 2 or Hellblade or Infinite Wealth is gonna win. Silent Hill 2, I don't really see. From somebody who's played technically 80% of the game, I had to watch the final 20%. I hate that. I think the story's good. Like, it's really good. I don't see necessarily what is so special about it in a way. Like, I really enjoyed it, and honestly, in some points, like those are some of the best moments. Is some of those cutscenes are just so interesting. I just don't think it's where you can look at narrative as in like multiple different areas, as like execution, cutscenes, like animation, like cinematography. I just don't think the plot of Silent Hill 2 is all that interesting to me. It just feels like another, like, you're in this spooky town that has this paranormal thing going on. You have like personal conflict with the main character who has external conflict with another character, and you are running from these monsters, and pretty much they just shove in a bunch of wacky puzzles and crazy ideas into it, and boom, you get what Silent Hill 2's plot is about. But I do think what makes that narrative so great is the fact that Luke Robert kills it in the role.
Well, and I mean, and with Silent Hill too, I mean, you really have to like dig internally to like the story.
It is a lore heavy game
of like reading it, because for all you know, you're just killing the nurses because those are the enemy.
Yeah.
That you have to kill like in those moments, but there's a reason that you're killing nurses with no face. Like, right. So you have to learn like the reasoning behind like why you're doing a lot of it to take it in, and that can be kind of hard for some people to like really want to dig deep, because even the puzzles, like the puzzles are enormous in that game sometimes. Like, you got to do like 9 steps to open a box that has like a key in it that just gets you to the next area, but you had to do 16 puzzles just to get there. Like it's there's a lot to Silent Hill that you can miss, and that's the whole point of having like 12 different endings or something too, that you can like come upon versus like the true ending. But like if you're just sort of playing the game for the sake of playing the game, like it really doesn't do a necessarily great job of always communicating and relaying to you why everything's happening the way it's happening.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah.
Again, I think it's a great story. I don't think it's gonna win. I think I would choose. I haven't even played Infinite Wealth. I would probably. I don't even know. I'm not even gonna make any remarks. You know what?
Metaphor does have pretty heavy tones about racism, but we don't have to talk about it.
Yeah. No, I do think easily Metaphor is winning this. Like, I would almost put money on it. I'm so confident. My vote's for Final Fantasy though, because I love that story so much.
Good man.
I know. Best game direction, second to last one. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. People don't know what this category is about, and I don't blame them, because they don't do a good job of explaining this. They should just call this category Best Game Innovation, not Best Game Direction. This category is pretty much what is the best new idea, the best new unique takes, the best things that push the medium forward, pretty much, is what this category represents. Yep. People just look at it as like, okay, what's the best execution? That's not necessarily what it's about. It's about like what game can take a technical aspect, a creative aspect, and do something we've never seen before to deliver an outstanding experience. I forgot what I picked. I think I picked Metaphor in my video because this was Atlus's first time in a long time doing a new IP, and they did it just as good as Persona, which I think was pretty impressive. But the more I thought about it, if this doesn't go to Astrobot, I'll be shocked. Because everything they do with the DualSense, with the abilities, with how they integrated other franchises and IPs into it, the way they integrated just the idea of PlayStation into it. Astrobot kind of is a one of a kind. Yes, it feels like a Mario game, but it kind of is its completely own platformer, like that no other platformer really can replicate. Um, I think for sure the amount of different levels in that game, the amount of new ideas, the fact that even on the last planet, you're still getting new abilities and things that you're like, oh, that's such a cool idea. That goes to show you like how much they tried pushing the genre that they were trying to make forward. They were trying to innovate in that game. Whereas, okay, you could go to something like Balacho and it's like, okay, they just did a card game really, really well. They added some new things, but 5 years down the line, are we gonna see things in multiple games taking inspiration from things from that game? I haven't played Balacho, so I don't know, but my guess is not. Black Myth Wukong, definitely not. There may be games that take, if they try to do like a culture representation or a mythology representation, they're going to look for Black Myth Wukong. How did they do that? Because they did that amazingly. Elden Ring, get out of here. It's a DLC. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, while I do think, again, it does such a great job at like being that ultimate remake and stuff, I do think Remake kind of already set the foundation for what Rebirth is. They kind of just expanded upon it with Rebirth. And I do feel like it just does things that are in other games really well. Like it has a really good open world, has really great characters, has really great gameplay, all that stuff. I don't think it necessarily does anything completely new. Metaphor, kind of like what I said. It's just a Persona game, just a new IP. I think Astrobot is like generally the only game here that has things in its game that is completely unique to it. So that's my vote. But
Astrobot's my second place.
Yep.
Pretty much everything that I ranted on prior category about Rebirth is what again wins Rebirth game direction for me. Because again, their game direction that they're taking with turning the original story on its head while also trying to keep it the same and building that within the lore of the game, literally within like the enemies that you encounter and the things that are said, on top of integrating extremely interesting lore and story to other parts of the game within the side quests. Again, stories have done that, but to make the mini games that everyone was so used to playing, and then adding other ones like the card game that's in Rebirth, Queen's Blood, the story that you get behind that by actually defeating the higher rank enemies and leveling yourself up within that is something that you can completely avoid. But it's such an interesting take. So, like, not only are they, like, sort of pushing the boundary of the original story versus their own new take, they're also adding so much interesting, cool narrative direction and lore to the expansive mini games that everyone knows and loves. Because now they're not just fun mini games. There's a reason you're playing them. There's a reason behind them. There's even something like ethereal behind them. You know what I mean? Like freaking what's his name? Freaking Ganon is in one of the freaking things or whatever his name is. Like he's like they throw that in one of the mini games. Like it's not necessary, but they're turning stuff on its head and pushing it. But Astrobot again, 100% is setting a new sort of platform. I think for that type of like platforming, Sony original, giving like a real place to stand for this type of game of explorative gameplay, crazy visuals, bright colors. I mean, even like the taking things that are fake and making them look real, like Astrobot looks like if you made that character out of metal and like put it on there like that like visually this game has set that tone. So like the direction that they're taking it like can only get bigger and broader because of how heavy they really brought it with their first full-fledged full Astro game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think Astrobot could be a definite pick. But like I said, just everything sort of tacked on with Rebirth for me just sends that for me. So
I will say, I think that this category, any of these six could win.
sure, sure.
I think there is an argument for any 60s because Austin just brought up a good point. He's gonna pick Wukong because of the innovation of UE5 and the execution of it. It's a really good point.
That is true because a lot of the games that have tried to do UE5
Yep.
look and perform like absolute garbo.
Yep.
So them being able to put out a game and it playing pretty darn well,
Like an Unreal 5 promise.
It is pretty cool. But is that a game direction or is that just a really good development studio?
Right. That's also art direction in a way.
Right. So
but
I wouldn't say that pushed the games, but it is game direction and design.
Yeah.
For that it does in the category too. So it is giving credit to the people behind making the game work so well within Unreal 5. So I can definitely give that credit.
Again, so. I think the biggest argument for Wukong in this category is the fact of its cultural and mythology representation. Like it's just so alive. Like it's just brought to a game like immaculately.
Yeah.
The fact. Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh, I think Wukong has to win art direction. Those in between chapter scenes where they use a different form of art to like do like this really cool music video.
Oh yeah, the little animation thing.
There's like claymation, there's like stop motion, there's obviously anime, there's like 3D animation. Dude, they used all these different forms of like art forms to do these like in between chapter like music videos. Mm-hmm. Oh shoot! Oh, I think I have to.
I've seen a couple of them, not all of them. I've seen a couple.
But also, I know we've kind of crapped on Elden Ring quite a few times here because it's a DLC and there's the controversy. But let me give it flowers.
Just for that reason, simply for that reason, Elden Ring is a fantastic game. Yes. I've done some playthroughs. Erdtree was incredible. I loved it. Consort Radahn did whoop my tail. And I stepped away from the game for a good hot minute. I am not taking anything away from Erdtree or Elden Ring or FromSoft for putting the love and dedication into that game and it being what it is. But it is a mid-game DLC that just adds more to the middle of the game. It's not even meant to be played after the game. It's meant to be played midway.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's nothing about it other than adding more context to the middle of it. Good context. There's a lot of good stuff in there, but like it's not. I don't know. I don't know.
But just... what I'll say is, I think if Elden Ring won this category, I wouldn't be the most upset because I do think it does push DLC forward in a way. Like I do feel like this is kind of the new benchmark for what a lot of people are going to look for in DLC. Whether it's what I look for in DLC or not, but yeah.
But guys, it's just as good as base games that came out this year. It is. The DLC and that's that is a great point. But it is a game that has already had its Game of the Year win 2 years ago. You've already had your cake, okay? Like here, like let somebody else eat, okay? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Come on, Eminem. They gave you a Grammy. Let somebody else pick up the pen. Anyway.
Also, sorry. I know I keep going back to this. Look, this is my one chance to glaze it, okay? Wukong's art direction, its cinematography, though, goes crazy as well. Sure, like, oh my gosh. It's animation. That whole opening, seeing those four giants and them, like, flying through the sky doing that epic battle.
That cinematic fight where you're fighting as Wukong is nuts.
Oh, man. Dude, that... Loki... Oh... I hope it wins that.
If the game was like that the entire time, it would probably be Game of the Year.
Yeah.
If it was you doing nothing but fighting those monolithic giants the entire time in the sky, full power as Wukong, and you did that for 50 hours,
Game of the generation right there.
Game of the year.
What are you talking about? Oh man, that's great. All right. Well, anyway, game of the year is our final category.
Yep.
Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. So let me reread that again, and then let me read the nominations, and then let me read that description again. And then you tell me what's wrong here. Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor Refantasio. Now let me read the description again. Recognizing a game that delivers the absolute best experience across all creative and technical fields. Recognizing a game that delivers the best. Hold on, wait. I must be reading this wrong. Recognizing a game.
Yep.
DLC? No, I don't see that. No.
Yep. But it was released as a full title. It wasn't released as just an expansion on its own. So honestly, I'm betting if they print new copies of Elden Ring now, it comes standard with Erdtree.
Oh yeah.
If I had to guess,
I
if you're
low-key
just buying Elden Ring now, it would come with that way. But again, like, this is not an original release. Like, the content is new, the release is not. So
I low-key love the argument that I've seen some people make. It's like, if it is not a game that I can pick up right now and instantly start playing, it should not count, because you do have to be a certain way through Elden Ring in order to even play it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
that's a really great point.
Elden Ring 2?
Oh, well, yeah, obviously.
If this was Elden, if this was the
if this was even a
spin-off,
if this was even like a spin-off, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. If it would have been a slightly smaller FromSoft release with just some different lore, it would probably be a pretty big, like, contender in my eyes. But because of the classification, for me, I personally don't think it belongs in the list, despite of how good it is.
Absolutely. And yeah, let me be clear. And I think people who are on the defending side of this, I think y'all have great points. I just think your overall argument for it being included in this category is wrong. Because the argument is that there are tons of people who spent years of their life working on this DLC, a lot of passion and hard work went into this DLC, that it should be recognized. I 100% agree with that. Just not in this category. It can be recognized in its own category, DLC or expansion.
Yep.
We should not be changing the definitions or the regulations of how things work because people think it's as good as an experience. It definitely is. It's one of the best experiences of the year. But that is not what we're talking about. This is a classification of a category and an award. It should be in its category, not something else's category.
Yep. I would honestly even be like down to just compromise for the fact that it can be just about anywhere else except for solo game of the year.
Yeah. No, 100% agree. Like, I think it's fine in game direction. That's fine.
You want to put it in art direction. You want to put it in like music because don't get me, like, the tracks they added to the boss battles are great. They are. Elden Ring OST is awesome. And the Erdtree music that they added is really good, as is some of the voice acting to some of the characters. The Mesmer voice actor, incredible voice actor to that boss battle. But it's not its own game. It's a game that without its core game wouldn't be there.
Yeah.
So, hey.
Yeah. I just hate it because there are a lot of other games that deserve that spot, and it just got completely robbed because Elden Ring, a game that already got its shine, it already got its due.
Went from remakes being included in Game of the Year was so controversial to this now. Yeah, the DLC is being included. I mean, that's true. And
remakes are fine. I don't care about
even as I'm sitting here, like, acknowledging the fact that, like, yes, the Rebirth is a story that has already been told. And there are things within Rebirth that if you know the original game, you can guess to the extent of how they're going to play out. Maybe just not some of the additional added details that they're going to throw in there. Um, so I can see the idea of being like, well, if DLC shouldn't be included, then stories that have already been told 40 years ago shouldn't be, included either. Well, again, Elden Ring is adding to what's already there.
Mm-hmm.
Rebirth and Remake are adding to what's already there differently because it's not the same thing. That's why the first game isn't a remake. It's called Remake because of the context of the game. That's why it's not called Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. It's called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth because it's the next game. Like, it is not actually a remake or a redone or a remaster. It is a revisit to the original lore in a different capacity. So, like, there's a technicolor there. Elden Ring is still Elden Ring. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erd Tree didn't come out with 3 different main game endings with it. It just came out with an expansive, huge, mind you, Erd Tree's huge. There's a lot to it. It's easy, another 40 some odd 50-hour experience if you do everything. It's huge. But when you leave the Shadow Realm or whatever it's called, you're still playing Elden Ring in the lands between. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I really, and I hate to say it because it shouldn't bring down the other games in this category. But because of Shadow of the Erd Tree, I low-key think this is the worst year ever for Game of the Year nominations. Because you're now comparing it to every other year that has 6 games nominated for Game of the Year, whereas this year there are only 5 games nominated for Game of the Year. When it should be 6 games, and the other 5 games are phenomenal. Like, I don't think anybody can argue like these other 5 games shouldn't be here. Worse than Last of Part 2. No, I don't.
No.
Look, I just don't like Part 2. That doesn't mean I don't think it shouldn't have been nominated for Game of the Year. I just don't like Last of Us Part 2. But the problem is, this year is automatically now unfair compared to every other year because it completely bent the rules, in a way, and it just completely sits wrong, like with everyone now.
Right. Because of course, conveniently, the first time they ever do it is Elden Ring year.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know. No, literally, everyone. There's people saying this just feels like a lazy way of making Elden Ring win twice. Granted, I don't think it's gonna win. I hope. Oh my gosh.
I really hope it doesn't.
Oh my gosh. Can you imagine? Oh, dude. Is it?
But if it does, like I said, I will shake its hand as it happens and acknowledge how good the Erd Tree experience is. But if it does win, it doesn't, in my opinion, fit.
Yeah.
And Austin, yeah, I will. We could have a whole other solo podcast purely about FF7 because he said I appreciate the glorious amount of glazing you do for Rebirth. I can do it about everything FF7 related. I can do it about Rebirth. I can do it about Remake. I can do it about Crisis Core. I can do it about the OG. Okay. I can
I can do it about
Advent Children.
I can do it about Black Myth. I can do it.
Yeah. See. So yeah, it's just such a well done story. Like I don't do that for everything. Like it really takes. I wish I was someone that can put on anything and play anything. I'm not. I try, certain things, and there's some stuff that I really don't give a moment's day. But like when I really take on a game, like I take it on, and experiencing Remake for the first time, did everything that I needed to do while learning the original full story of 7. So yeah, I could go on about Rebirth forever. But all of FF7 is my jam.
Yeah.
What'd I say, all sussy baka that got you all giggling over there?
Just the way you were like, I'll take it all in. Like,
I
like
will. I will.
was just
I
funny.
really will. Willingly.
Um, but I think another interesting conversation is let's say Elden Ring did not get nominated. What would have taken that sixth spot? I think for sure it probably would have been Silent Hill. Yeah, I think it would have been Silent Hill.
Silent Hill. I think even though it's a little short, I probably believe that Senua belongs there.
Whoa.
So
You think Hellblade should have been nominated for game of the year?
I mean, it didn't even get a vote. Like, that's wild. Call of Duty got voted for game of the year over one of the most visually, graphically pushing games.
Wait. How do you know? How do you know Black Ops got voted?
Black Ops got because there was a. That's why everybody was irritated, because Black Ops got just as many nominations as Erdtree did.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's different. That's not like votes for game of the year. That's just like in the whole show. That's how many times they showed up. Pretty much.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, nominations.
I do agree with you. Like, yeah,
within the board of people that like actually got the games nominated. Like, Call of Duty like got bumps from some people. Be like, yeah, Call of Duty belongs there. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Even if the story mode's great, Call of Duty doesn't need to be in Game of the Year talks. It really doesn't. It really doesn't. Helldivers 2 got bumps from some people. Like, like that doesn't really belong there. But like, I mean, Hellblade might have. I don't know. Yeah, apparently Hellblade did get a couple. But like, Hellblade apparently got just as many noms as Erdtree did. And like I said, short game be damned.
Silent Hill got more.
I know.
Than Erdtree.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
It is.
I think there's a selection of them that deserved it over a DLC, but I can let it go as long as Rebirth wins.
All right, so now we talk. What do we think's winning? What do we think's winning? Now, so here's the interesting thing. Because this is pretty much all critics voting.
Yep.
We have to take that in consideration. On Metacritic, right? Erdtree is the highest with 95, I think. Hang on. Wait. 94. It has a 94, which ties it with Astrobot and Metaphor being 94. So those are the three highest. And then in the next place, actually, wait, let me check Balatro. I have no idea. Balatro is 90. So then in second place is then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Then you have Balatro at 90. And then you have Black Myth Wukong at 81. That's a big jump there. So if we're going off numbers, the most likely option is Erdtree, Astrobot, and Metaphor.
Yeah.
If we're going off, like, what is, like, I guess, Game of the Year caliber games, I think it's Astrobot, Final Fantasy, or Metaphor are the top three options. If we're going off what are the biggest games of the year, then we're talking Erdtree, Wukong, and Astrobot, I think. And Rebirth, I would say. If we're going off of what was the most popular, biggest game of the year, that is Wukong. So, and then if we're going off of the complete sleeper pick, that's Balatro. And if we're going off the most recent game, we're going Metaphor. if we're there's so many different angles that you could take this. I could genuinely see any of these six winning it. I will say, this is one of the more interesting years in terms of it's not very predictable. Whereas most years you can pretty much predict what's going to win. This year it's a little harder because there's a lot of difference. There's a lot of people saying, which is a really good point, is that Black Myth Wukong being nominated, being lower than like 20 other games this year because of its score. 81 is lower than like so many other games. Stellar Blade, Space Marine, Black Ops, like so many things. But it got nominated for a Game of the Year. Almost makes you feel like it's going to win, because why the hell would they nominate it? Like, it's such a weird thing. But I think it just comes to the fact that you have to nominate it. It was the biggest game of the year. Like, if you don't nominate the biggest game of the year in the Game of the Year category, then it's just not right. Like, that game was a breakout hit. And if this is a show to celebrate the industry of gaming, that game literally made a whole market in the industry skyrocket. China is now insane because of this game. Like, I almost 100% guarantee you Wukong is winning Player's Choice Awards because China's going to flood it. Which, shout out to over there, because I'm right there with you, all right? I love Wukong. But, like, I don't know. I think it'd be really interesting. I do think, personally, if I'm going off of brand recognition, if I'm going off of quality, if I'm going off of popularity, I do think Rebirth is the overall most balanced option here. I think it's Rebirth or Astrobot. If I'm going off of pure quality and how much people have been glazing quality, I think it's Metaphor. If I'm going off of like just like completely left turn, like who knows, come out of nowhere sleeper pick, Balatro could do it, who knows. If I'm going off of popularity, it's Black Myth Wukong. And if we're going off of the stupid Game Awards logic, it could be Elden Ring. Like, who knows? So, my guess is that it's going to be Rebirth. But something's telling me it's going to be Metaphor. I would personally love Wukong. That's my vote, because that's my game of the year. But, like,
I think Metaphor has a bigger chance to win, like, actual people
Player's
voted
Choice
in type stuff. Yeah,
I don't think enough people played it is the problem. Because it literally Sonic Frontiers won 1 year, because literally the whole Sonic community like flooded the votes. I can't kid you not. Actually, no, it lost the Genshin Impact. Actually, now I think about it, Player's Choice Awards is literally just who has the biggest community that commits to making it win. Yeah. Every single year. But I, honestly, if anything, Elden Ring might win too, because of all the Souls suckers.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That could also do it. But yeah, there's I guess there is. There it is. There is all the nominees for this year's Game Awards. Very controversial. But overall, I will say I'm glad there's a lot of games that got recognition. Like Prince Persia, I'm really glad got some recognition. Hellblade, I'm glad got some. Star Wars, I'm glad got at least one. You know, I think there's definitely a lot of variety there. I just think there's a lot of wrong decisions that just don't make sense. Not even that I disagree with, just don't make sense.
Sure.
And so, you know, what a podcast, but yes, W podcast.
W.
We always have W podcast. But at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, remember, it's just this is just critics' opinions. Make your own opinions. Yep. Play the games for yourselves. I know play your way. I know I'll be having my own award show at the end of the year. And I'll tell you right now, Elden Ring is not nominated for Game of the Year. And I will have a DLC/expansion category. Actually, Jordan, have you seen all my categories?
No.
Did you watch? So. Okay, because I revealed it during a stream. So hang on. Let me tell you all my categories real quick.
Sure.
I think it's this one. Oh, it's opening Photoshop. Crap, I clicked the wrong thing. Oh dear God.
Whoopsie. And I'm gone. Right, and I'm back.
Yeah. I think it's this. There we go. Okay. So the categories are Game of the Year, Best Narrative, Best Gameplay, Best Visuals, best art style, because I think those are two different things.
Yeah.
Personally, best setting / environment, so best world, pretty much. Best cinematics / animations, best OST / music, best song / track, best opening, best ending, best performance / character, best supporting character, best boss fight, best characters / cast, best new IP, best sequel, best indie game, best remaster / remake, best spin-off, best DLC / expansion, best multiplayer game, best family-friendly game, biggest flop / fail / disappointment, best company / publisher, best studio, best event / showcase, best trailer, best cover art, and the Johnny Murr Award.
Cool.
Love to see it. And my rules and info: 30 categories, 5 nominees per category, 6 for Game of the Year. The judging categories are aspect qualities, impact, and personal enjoyment, all judged by my opinion and experienced. Games released January 1st through December 31st.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's how it is.
Should be good.
It should be good. It should be good. But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for this podcast. What the heck did wait? Austin said we show up for the announcements of new games like potential Silk Song, potential RE9, potential KF4, new Haze Light game. Why did bro say potential for 3 times? New Haze. You didn't say the new potential Haze Light game, bro.
I did hear a rumor the new RE9 might be Leon again.
Yeah, that's the thought, which it should be. The streets need Leon, all right? The street. I love
It would be
saying that.
interesting.
I love saying that, bro.
It would be interesting.
The streets need it. We need it.
But then again, like they just did the RE4 remake with him, so like, are they going to give him the next?
I think so.
Titular title? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think it's going to be a combination of multiple characters. I think it's going to be Leon, Jill, Chris. Maybe
Leon's apparently like 50 now.
Claire.
I'd like to see a begrudged, curmudgeoned old Leon.
Bro. Battle Scar Warrior. Battle Scar
with
soldier.
a beard. He's got to have a beard now.
Oh, bro, he's got to have a beard. Or at least a mustache.
Oh, I hope he developed like a cigar habit and he talks with like.
Oh my gosh, that would be so. Dude.
Just a harsh voice now. Basically like a Resident Evil Wolverine is basically what I'm expecting if he's 50. You know what I mean?
Bro, I literally dude. This year my love for Resident Evil has literally skyrocketed. Like as soon as Resident Evil 9's announced, that's a top 5 most anticipated game for me.
Easy. What y'all want to see at the Game Awards?
Good games. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, good announcements. Actual like multiple new things, like or very expansive new information or gameplay footage of stuff we haven't seen much of yet. Like if you're gonna show us more non-detailed trailers about games we've been seeing for the last year, get it out of my face. I don't care. If you're gonna show me a game I've been looking at for the last year, show me new stuff. Show me what's making it different. Show me more meat to this to this stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, show me the meat. All right. But yeah, that I don't know. I think a lot of the stuff that I sort of want to see, maybe some more stuff on the new Skate game. See what that's going to be like, because it's supposed to be like a big open MMO type now. So being MMO, like maybe a little bit more info on that, because I'm kind of nervous about it not being a single player experience anymore. And then I really was kind of hoping maybe we'd hear something about a New Horizon. since it's been a couple of years. But again, that's I was looking it up, and apparently Gorilla's got no plans on it right now.
Take a look at my
no direct plans. So
take a look at my most anticipated list.
those are your okay.
These are all the games that I'm like excited for. Like basically, if you are like a day one, I'm like excited for your game. You're on this list. And as you can see, I'm excited for a lot of games. I play a lot of games.
Yeah, for sure.
Probably more than you'll ever meet someone else like in person. It's quite absurd.
Yeah, no, good titles. A couple on there I could definitely agree with.
Actually, I gotta take Stalker out now.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe since they delayed Shadows, show us something cool about Shadows.
I mean, yeah, we'll
probably won't happen, but
yeah.
that would be kind of cool just to get like.
Actually, you know what I want to see?
Maybe a little more of the Snake Eater remake. Maybe a little bit more of that. Sort of see like what direction they're taking that in. That'd be kind of interesting to see.
Well, we're definitely gonna get a release date. That's for sure.
Sure.
Release date. We need a release date for a lot of things, actually.
Yeah.
I think that.
I'd love to see a confirmed Fable release date.
Again, we might see it. We might see it, kind of like how we saw Hellblade, but I don't think it's gonna be an exact release date. If anything, it's gonna be like
spring,
like
summer.
fall 2025 or something like that. Yeah.
Sure.
But actually, like, okay, so also said Loki, what do you want to see at the Game Awards? Real quick, also said I wish Nintendo would come back and show the next 3D Mario, but they won't. I also feel like it's gonna be hard because there's already so many games announced for next year. Yeah, I do think we're going to get a lot of release dates. I think we're going to get a lot of new trailers for things we haven't seen in a while. Like, I think we're going to get Borderlands 4 gameplay and a release date. I think we're going to get just so many things. Doom will probably be there. But
maybe some more info on Gears.
In terms of new game announcements, I think my top ones, I would say, are for sure Resident Evil 9. That's easily my top of my list. I would love to see Kingdom Hearts 4. I would love to see like maybe Far Cry 7 because I know they've been talking about how there's possibly a new Far Cry in development. Ubisoft has nothing planned for next year outside of Assassin's Creed Shadows. So I think they kind of need Far Cry.
Good Far Cry.
I really want to see Pragmata. That game has been way too long. Like, we need to see that game was originally supposed to come out in 2023, bro. It's almost 2025 now. Like, what's going on?
I want to see Mega Man Legends 3. Make it happen.
Oh, I would love to see a Mega Man game. Oh my gosh, be awesome. I think we'll probably get an FBC Firebreak release date. I think Sam Lake will probably come out on the stage and do his little dance or whatnot, and then give us the release date for that. I do think we're gonna get a Metal Gear Solid release date. Honestly, part of me really wants to say we are gonna get something Nintendo. I just don't know what it'll be. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if it's just Metroid Prime 4 like gameplay or something like that.
They need to just drop the ball and announce the 2.
I know.
Fully.
Yeah.
I think they'd break the Game Awards if they did that.
Oh yeah, for sure. They would.
Announce it, tell when pre-orders are going to go live, and put it out in like February.
No, I know exactly what's going to be. I can't tell you the specific game, but I could tell you like what's going to happen. We're going to get another PlayStation like big game announcement there. Because there's been a lot of rumors and a lot of like information reports saying that PlayStation has multiple big games planned outside of just Ghost of Yotai for next year.
Yeah, I've heard that too.
So we got to know what those are. And I think the Game Awards is where we get one of them. And it might be the Horizon multiplayer game because there's reports that it might be 2025. And with all the hype behind Horizon this year and stuff, it's not too far-fetched there.
No. I just hope something like a multiplayer game doesn't put a damper on the next one.
I personally just hope the multiplayer game is the same gameplay. Because, like, I don't want them to, like, do, like, a Lego Horizon. Or not.
It won't be, though. It'll be like Fallout and Fallout 76 and, like, Elder Scrolls and Elder Scrolls Online. Like, yeah, there are mechanics there, but like they're gonna have to be like dialed down a little bit to be a bit more multiplayer friendly. And I think the things that could hurt it, they might completely change that up. I don't know.
What if they pull
I
a
feel like
FBC Firebreak and just turn a third-person game into a first-person shooter? Imagine.
I mean, they already try to do that with the VR game, so.
Oh my god, that's true.
Call the Wild.
Oh man.
Where you don't play as Aloy, but she's there.
Actually, you know what might be at the Game Awards for Nintendo? Maybe the Pokemon game. Pokemon Z through A.
Z to A, yeah.
We haven't heard about that in years. It's supposed to come out early next year.
I thought it was late next year.
It said early next year.
Did it? I thought it actually said fall 25.
No, it says early next year because everyone thought it was going to launch alongside the Switch 2, but that's obviously not happening anymore. Unless they delayed Pokemon to still launch alongside it. But I don't know. We'll see. I do think Silksong will probably be there. Xbox is gonna be there. Like Xbox is for sure gonna be. They were there huge last year. I mean, with Blade, Hellblade. What else was there? I don't know. They showed something else as well, but Xbox is for sure gonna be there. The question is just what games are they gonna show? They have a lot to choose from. Honestly, Fable isn't the farthest shout of the imagination. Like, I could see it. I just don't know if it's in time for it. I definitely see Doom. And I definitely... maybe South of Midnight. I don't know. There's a lot that they can do. But all right. Well, that's going to do it for this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. A little bit of housekeeping real quick. I am going on vacation next week, so I'm going to try to have some like 1 or 2 videos scheduled to upload next week so you guys aren't left completely completely dry. But for the most part, there's not going to be any streaming, and there's not going to be a whole lot of content. God, I would love a new Bioshock. Oh, my God. But... yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you in the next podcast. We're out. Peace.
Peace.